I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Alvin. I thank God every day I'm not a Falcon. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, running like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the Who Dat Nation. Great Saint Tank. We're in full effect for this one, the Sports Coma Monday edition. This was called Onyemata Signs with Falcons plus the Saints restructure. A couple of more guys, man. Shout out to the Who Dat Nation. Appreciate y'all being in the stream. Big ups to the fam. And of course, as the free agency gets going, the tampering period, I think it's called line-to-line tampering period, whatever the hell they call it, but it's firing off, man. We got some updates we're going to go over with you guys for this episode of the Coma. Saints did lose one of their guys, and to be honest with you, kind of anticipated it, because usually when your rival I called it, and shout out to Lil called me. And I was getting updates all today. I was just so busy, man, doing other things. I didn't have opportunity to check my updates, man. It was a real busy day for me on this Monday. Usually are. But ultimately, looking at what the Saints, with the Atlanta, what I call the Atlanta Falcons is, I call them the New Orleans East. I call them the New Orleans East. That's what you call the Atlanta Falcons. They got Terry Fontenot. And, of course, they hire Ryan Nielsen as the defensive coordinator, which means that he's going to go to guys that he's familiar with. David Onyemata is a guy that he was familiar with to get next to Grady Smith in the middle, which is not a bad move by Atlanta to get David Onyemata. And really, it makes the Saints' draft decisions a lot easier. So shout out to David Onyemata for moving on in terms of finding an opportunity. No shot at him for going to the Falcons, because that is just, if you're a Saint person, a black and gold person, that's like sacrilegious for you to leave from here and go to the Falcons. But these are, like I told you guys before, these are hired people. they don't have any allegiance to except for whatever the agreement says, and they'll play for anybody that'll pay them. I told you that. So I don't really have a fixation to them. If you're here on the Saints team, you're my people. On the other side of it, you're the enemy. So when Onyemata went to the Atlanta Falcons, he took the contract. The Saints wasn't going to pay him like that, and he went on. So it makes the Saints draft decisions to kind of rework the inside of the defensive line, which was a massive failure last year. So both him and Shy Tuttle, that were partially responsible for the ineptitude of the Saints' interior defensive line woes that allotted 120-something plus yards per game. Hey, that makes life a lot easier for the Saints to go into the draft and find personnel, or into free agency to find guys to replace the guys that we left. So Onyemata, Shy Tuttle up out of here, and they go to the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons defensive line improve, and they're not done yet pilfering your players. So between Sean Payton and Atlanta, man, a lot of pilfering is going to happen. But anyway, shout out to the fam. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, and share the show on your social media feed. Shout out to the fam in the roll call. Shout out to Boo. What's up, brother? Prime's in this thing. Tori Shepard, senior brother Tori. T, shout out to your brother Eric. Keldrick, Derek Cropper, Slade, shout out to you. King Morrison's in the building as well. Kai the Great, shout out to you, sir. Daniel, Quavadius, Ant-Man, 504 Cole, Claude. Shout out to you, brother DeWright. What's popping, brother DeWright? Good to see you in the chat. What's up, Josh? Shout out to you as well. Terra66 is in this thing. Demetrius, shout out to you, brother. No Lagoon is in the building as well. JT, what's popping, my brother? Good to see you in the stream. Brother Kevin McKnight's in this thing. Shout out to you. What's up, Winey? Shout out to the Queen. AJ's in the building. Chevy's in the building. Who that fly? Pelican, shout out to you, bro. Mont Dog, what's popping? G-Re 504. Who else we got? Austin's in this thing. Jeremy's in this thing. Shout out to all y'all, man. Good to see y'all. What's up, Cardell? Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you representing from Minneapolis. All right, brother. Shout out to brother Cardell. April, shout out to you. Appreciate you. Yep, just business, not personal. That's the approach, right? Shout out to you as well. Yin Grant, shout out to you. A Gundam, shout out to you. Good to see all the fam. Blackwoods, Coach Todd, Jerome. BR Fitted 225, Dadu, Joe Gidry. Shout out to you, DJ from State of the Pelican. Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you as well. And all of the great Saint Think Tank family members. KT, the Who Dat Nation, shout out to you. Good to see you there, sir. Much love. Who else we got? I don't want to leave nobody out. In this thing, my dog KT, the Southern Gen as well. Our resident scout is in the building. He did a lot of great work. Shout out to KT. We're going to do some more draft stuff as well. Trap Star 318, Old Cooler. Shout out to you. D's Nuts is in the building, family. D's Nuts is in the building. All right. Now, ain't no joke. That's a brother in the stream. I try not to say it too many times. It's Poppy 504 as well. All right. Travis, shout out to you as well. Good to see you in there. I got you, KT. Hey, man, you right. When we talked about it, Mozzie Smith, the dancing bear from Baylor, Ika. Hey, man, these are the two top interior guys. You need them to pencil these guys in as things start. Like I said, the Saints need to work on the defensive line. That is the clearest need now. Interiorly, if you look at the numbers we talked about, the Saints defensive line says, Q, look at it. What do we have to look at? I say the lines. The defensive line needs help. You still need a guy next to Cam Jordan. Cam is the Saints. I got some news for y'all on today. J Sticks Jefferson, shout out to you. Avis, Saints for life. Everybody, man, I don't leave nobody out. What's up, brother Derek Lockett? Shout out to my brother Derek Lockett, man. T Solid, Doggy, shout out to you, fam. And the rest of the stream, much love to the fam. Appreciate all of y'all. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. I always try to give family member shots out when I got time to do it. But very interesting developments today, fam. Please hit the like button as we're going to get going in the show, man. And it's very interesting to move. So this is the big news of the day as we get to the share screen. What's up, Brian? Shout out to Brian, man. All right. And like I said, fam, we're going to cover all this. You know how we do with the Sports Coma, man. We thorough. So we're going to come with all of the facts, all the articles. We're going to go over some stuff. I'm going to show y'all the depth chart. I'm going to show y'all the cap where it's situated at. I'm thorough, so I'm going to lay it all out. So when you leave from here, there'll be no questions, no gray area, no nothing. We know what we're dealing with straight up. All right, so shout out to, thank you, Rich. Shout out to you, Rich Vattel. Shout out to you, Rich Rules. Shout out to you, as well. Okay, shout out to you, brother. Good to see you, man. Appreciate you. Much love. Thank y'all for the love, man. Appreciate you. All right, so Rougarou, what's happening? So as you can tell, fam, this is the news of the day. Is David Onyemata agreed to a 3-year deal with the Falcons. He leaves from here to join Ryan Nielsen, who is our former defensive line coach / whatever, who was given the title as co-coordinator. He's running the Falcons defense now. So the Falcons had a lot of money, man, $50-something million to spend, and they got busy today. You know, and I'm going to show you guys their stuff later on. If I go through the Saints content, we're going to flash through the NFC South content. And the latest moves in the NFC South. We'll cover that here. And like I said, there'll be no gray area. So, Akin, shout out to you. But this is the news of the day. So David Onyemata is gone. He, that was one of the things we was talking about with the Saints, because he has that dead cap money, about $10 million. Now that the Saints, it'll be on the Saints books for the dead money. But it was an interest to sign David Onyemata, but the Falcons, they have more money than the Saints currently. The Saints are still roughly in the red right now. So the Saints, are making moves, but they still have to get compliant. They have to get in the black by a certain period of time or be fined. So the Saints are hustling, bustling to get that to shaking and popping. And we'll see what's going on. So, and this was, of course, reported by ESPN's Mike Garofalo, who said that the contract is valued at $35 million and with $24.5 million in guarantees. That's quite the payday for Onyemata, who earned $26 million with the Saints in their last contract. So, he has a few things. And with Atlanta Learn, I know Lowe called me today and was saying, Q, yeah, David Onyemata. I said, well, how is he? I said, David Onyemata is a hell of an interior defensive tackle, but he's at his best when you have a guy next to him who can draw double teams consistently. If you can do that, David Onyemata is a beast. You will get the very best out of him. He's available the majority of the time. He's available. He is going to play for you, and he's going to give you everything he's got. So the Falcons, understanding they were weak interiorly, this was a good move to peel for one of the Saints' best interior defensive linemen and bring him to the squad. So this is interesting. So anyway, according to the article right here, this is coming from The Wire itself. Onyemata fell off a cliff after being suspended for violating the league's enhancing drug policy. We covered this ad nauseum back in 21 when it happened. The Falcons spend their money however they want to. This move reunites him with the old position coach Ryan Nielsen. And of course, Terry Fontenot, the departure means roughly $10 million in dead money, which will accelerate to the Saints salary cap from past restructures with Onyemata. And the hope was to re-sign David Onyemata so the Saints didn't have to deal with that. So they'll have to face that. But the Saints should qualify for a 4th or 5th round compensatory pick next year, depending how other moves pan out in free agency. So David Onyemata going to the Atlanta Falcons. The deal, $35 million, 3-year, and $24.5 million guaranteed. Falcons got money. The Falcons they have a lot of money right now, and they're spending it. So anyway, and of course, the other issue we're gonna talk about is the fact that the David Onyemata went to the Falcons, and Shy Tuttle, our undrafted free agent tackle that we developed here, who started many games for the Saints last year, did a lot of starting prior years, had some starting experience. He is off to Carolina. So the Saints lose as soon as they can. They're starting 2 interior defensive linemen, 2 rivals inside of the NFC South. So the thing is, they talk a lot of mess about the Saints team, but then come here and go after your players. They talk a lot of crap about your team, don't they? But then come here and get your executives, come here and get your players, come and get your coaches. They talk a lot of smack, don't they? They really do. But they appeal for your coaches and every damn body. So very interesting. Defensive lineman Shy Tuttle going to Carolina. His agent Drew Rosenhaus and Kyle Lincoln confirmed that their client has agreed to the Panthers to be a free agent. He has a 3-year deal at $19.5 million that includes $13 million in guaranteed. That's a lot of money. Contract at $19.5, guaranteed at $13 million for Shy Tuttle. Ain't no way in the world Saints was going after that. So we knew Shy Tuttle. If anything, Shy Tuttle was the guy that we were going to get rid of, and we will focus on David Onyemata. Now the Saints have 2 holes in the interior defensive line, which was a problem last year. Now, I didn't advocate for losing David Onyemata. Just the other show I talked about keeping David Onyemata, but not at that price. So it's like, okay, Q, what do we do now? You know what you got to do now, baby, don't you? You know, it gives the Saints a very clear position of need in the draft to go after, and they are very good defensive linemen that are waiting there for you. The Saints, do they get two? Well, then two interior defensive linemen. You need one to do they go into free agency and get them? Do they? So this is the question we ask. Maybe one and one there, one here. You get me? We'll see. But anyway, Shy Tuttle, 14 times he started for the Saints, appeared in every game in 2022, had 49 tackles against 2 sacks, 5 pass defense. And he has that 143 tackles for 4 sacks and interception, a forced fumble recovery over 63 career games. And remember, congratulations to Shy Tuttle in terms of how he built himself up with the Saints. Remember, Shy Tuttle was a guy that had a lot of potential coming out of high school. He went to Tennessee, couldn't stay healthy, came with the Saints. Saints were patient with him and David Onyemata, who was a raw-ass defensive tackle who developed past Sheldon Rankins. Remember, when they drafted David Onyemata, he was a 4th-round draft pick out of Canada. And he developed because Sheldon Rankins couldn't stay healthy. So he was healthy, he was available, and he reaped the rewards when contract time came around. Shy Tuttle, on the other hand, was a guy that couldn't stay healthy in college, came to the Saints, developed, worked on himself, built himself up, and look at him, he got a lucrative contract with another team. So I'm happy for the success. I'm always a guy that advocates and love that, and love success, to see other guys, the underdogs, man, that fight from the very bottom, who nobody gave a chance and thought they were kaput history. And they worked and work and work. And then ultimately somebody recognizes their hard work and their dedication, determination, endurance, and to a cause. And congratulations on Shy Tuttle, another undrafted success story for the Saints. So he signs with Carolina, even though he goes there. So I'm very happy for both of these guys. You work really hard, man. The Saints have also seen defensive tackle Onyemata leave to the Falcons, and Marcus Davenport and Kent Street are still set for free agency, and their departures would make a very different looking defensive line in New Orleans. Question is, do New Orleans go after them? This is the whole thing. Do New Orleans go after Marcus Davenport? Not at a rate. And look how the money's firing off the books, and it's already a word on the street that the Falcons are looking at Davenport. The Saints are not going to match whatever Davenport. So the Saints could they've lost 2 starters on the interior of the defensive line right now, and they could lose Marcus Davenport as well. So we'll see exactly how that happens. So the defensive line becomes, and we knew this all the time, the Saints defensive line is now should be the where you focus your attention at. Whiney, shout out to you, baby. Appreciate you, Whiney, for becoming Pro Star #1. Shout out to you, Queen. Appreciate you for your support. Much love. Yeah, this is awesome, man. To be honest with you, this is awesome because, like, in terms of awesome, I mean, I'm happy for the players that they're getting broke off. Not really happy for where they're going, but it's okay. It's okay. We can't keep everybody. Let's see what the Saints do. Now, this is Dennis Allen's the head coach, as you know. Dennis Allen is a defensive-minded person. The Saints will find people to replace what we had last year. And to be honest with you, what we had last year wasn't working. So if it was like, if we were top 5 or top 10, I was like, man, damn, we lost. But, our line was suffering in the interior. Those guys couldn't hold it. They were giving up 120-some yards. Some games it wasn't, but they were letting third-string running backs and backs I never even heard of run on them and gash them up the middle. They were, it was a bad. So the Saints really needed to start it again. And now they have every indication to do that way. Plus other guys like Davenport, who's a free agent, who the Saints would probably keep for the right price. But I think in the way things are flowing, he's going to be going to Davenport. He is. Kent Streets didn't look good for the Saints last year. I thought Kent Street would really battle and push Shy Tuttle for the starting position. He did not do that. He was not consistent last year. So the Saints have to also find depth there. So let's look at what the depth chart looks like right now, family. If you hold on, let me kind of shrink it a bit because it's lapping. All right. So as you can see right here, as we go down to the defensive, the 4-3 defense, as you can see on the screen, you see the interior defensive line, Malcolm Roach, Kent Street, and they got Albert Huggins, Prince Emily, who's on the practice squad. Remember, Tanu Passanio, who the Saints signed to a 3-year deal, could play inside for you as well if you needed them. Now you know what you got to do. Because Davenport's more than likely going to be gone. Is Tanu Passanio your starting guy, or is it Peyton Turner? You see? So the Saints have Carl Granderson, Tanu Passanio, Peyton Turner to operate behind on the other side. Well, they'll have Passanio on the opposite side, hopefully not starting the entire season, more as a guy that's a backup guy, and you need somebody that can fire off the other side. So maybe the Saints go in free agency. I don't know. I don't think they'll be active this free agency period. So could they find somebody in the second layer or third layer of free agency that can operate opposite of Cam, or do they just say, listen, we got Peyton Turner, who's a first-round draft pick. We know Davenport didn't work out. Peyton Turner's next man up. Carries a first-round grade, but the biggest problem with Peyton Turner's is availability, same as Davenport. Boy, when the Saints draft a defensive lineman and they pick these guys, let's stop drafting Davenports and see if we can find some Cam Jordans. So KT, I give him KT, our resident scout, and Luke, who's also a really good scout, and GM Kev, I give them the assignments to give me 3 guys in the draft that mirror Cam Jordan. Let's start. I'm done with the Davenports. We like Peyton Turner. He looks like Davenport and acts like Davenport. So let's see if we can find somebody, a guy. If we're going to draft a type of guy, how about drafting a type of guy that's a successful guy that plays? How about drafting the Cam Jordan? Do we have any Cam Jordans in this upcoming draft? That's the assignment to my brothers. All right, so anyway, this is what it looks like currently for our interior defensive line. As you can see, we need help. We can rework Saints contract to clear cap space. Big news is the Saints getting closer and closer. Saints star running back Alvin Kamara restructured his contract, and this is Nick Underhill reporting, and also Tom Pelissero's dropping it. And over the cap, the restructure would save the Saints over $7 million against this year's cap. It also is reported that Marshon agreed to a restructure as well, which would free up $10 million. So you got over $17 million between AK-41 and Laddie Daddy. 17. So together, these moves would get the Saints under the cap, as they're $16.3 million over the limit right now. This is the second straight offseason in which the Saints have altered the 5-year, $75 million deal Kamara signed in 2022, just over a year ago. Remember, when they alter these deals, they just push the money down into the future. Some of the money they give them and straight up signing out to them, and then other moments they just kick it down the season in these non-playable phantom years that the Saints will be responsible for over the next several years. All right, sorry, family. It says mute. I don't know what that happens, man. I don't know why it does that. But anyway, hopefully y'all didn't miss too much. Okay, so anyway, the next thing is with this move here, the Saints saving that money. So it's reported that they're saving about $17 million, which should put the Saints in the black according to this. We'll see. Now, this is the second straight offseason which the Saints have altered the contract with Alvin Kamara. Now, in 2022, they did that. So just over a year ago, they opened up just over $8 million by turning a large chunk of the 2022 earnings into a signing bonus. And they added a voided year in 2026. So this is what the Saints do. They'll never be able to work it back to the black, as Mickey said it, or work it back to the middle, as Mickey wanted or said, because this is a stratagem how the Saints work. And they won't ever stop doing it unless they start losing. Then that'll force them to be more responsible with the cap and, kind of handle your business that way. Because really the Saints do a phenomenal job of finding undrafted guys, and then they turn around and do a good job in the draft, and they develop these guys. So they develop these guys into something. They develop them. Undrafted, we talked about the Shy Tuttles. We talked about the JT Grays. We talked about the Rashid Shaheeds. We talk about guys like that don't get paid anything, not really big time money, and don't impact the cap in any kind of way, but they're playing starter minutes and giving you good production. As long as the Saints could do that, then the Saints they can keep doing this forever. And until the NFL changes the rules on this, which they will do, let the Saints win a Super Bowl, man. Watch how they're going to start spinning it all kind of ways. All right, shout out to you. What's up, Free Game? He said, I want Brian Breesy from Clemson. All right, shout out to you, Free Game. Appreciate you, bro. Shout out to my dog, GM Kevin, this thing with the Pro Ultimate Overlord level. Shout out to you, bro. Salute. Yes, salute. All right, so there it is. The details of the restructure were unclear. Nobody in the NFL navigates the cap like the Saints. Like the Saints general manager. Yeah, Slick Mickey. Yeah, let me tell you something, man. Yeah, old Slick Mickey. All right, it seems that every year New Orleans is millions, sometimes tens of millions in the red. Only Loomis to make the moves not only stabilizes the team cap situation, but also open the door for major addition or two. Mickey Loomis is determined to kick down the road to perpetuity. So they know how Slick Mickey done arrange this stuff, man. Slick Mickey, that's why we call him Slick Mickey, because Slick Mickey manipulates the cap. And then he taught Terry Fontenot and Kai Hartley how to do it too. So, yeah, Slick Mickey, man. I don't ever go to the casino with me, Q. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something, Q. Let me tell you, you go to you end up going to that thing, to the casino with me, Q. Let me tell you something. I'm going to win. All right, J.A. Gunn, shout out to you, J.A. Gunn, for hitting that and becoming a member of the stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Much love. Really do appreciate you guys for becoming members of the channel. And also shout out to all the family members out there that have been members for some time now. All right. So we're going to keep it going. Oh, yeah, we're gonna roll it, Kev. Don't worry about it. We got some more draft stuff that we got coming up soon. So we're going to be rolling it. Contract restructures also mean add money to the cap down the road. Kamara, for example, will count against over $2 million in dead money in 26. And thanks to that last year's arrangement, and maybe there will come a time when Loomis takes a step back in service of a long-term rebuilding plan. Sooner or later, you may have no other choice. For now, the front office is clearly looking to do everything can end in their 2-year drought. And that should be the major situation involved as the Saints peer forward. Going forward, prior to everything jumping off, getting the Derek Carr situation helps the offense. It does. It improves the offense. The offense can carry it. It carries its water as long as they can stay healthy. Next big shooter drop, because we talked about Marshon Lattimore. We talked about Alvin Kamara restructuring. We talked about Jameis Winston. So it's the next big shooter drop. It's coming up soon. It's about the Jameis Winston. What does Jameis do? Does Jameis take the restructured contract? We got a couple days for that happening. I myself believe Jameis Winston will not take the restructuring. I think Jameis hits free agency. He can make more money with somebody else, plus start for somebody else. There'll be opportunities out there for him. Hell, he can go back to Tampa Bay. He can go back and sign to Tampa Bay and go back there and try to get the starting job. Why not? David Onyemata, Shai Tuttle, and there'll be other Saints. Von Miller's back in the NFC South with the Panthers as well. Why not Jameis in Tampa Bay? It'll be very interesting in the NFC South, man. It really would be. Shout out to you, Brian Russell. Thank you, bro. He says, bro, no more Clemson defensive dudes. You still sore about what's his name, man? What's the linebacker, man? Oh man, I forgot the brother name, man. I gotta start taking my memory herbs, man. Man, I can see the guys, but I have so much information up there, man. You know, the names, sometimes I get the names mixed up. Anthony, what's his name? Y'all help me out. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Who was the linebacker? Actually, man, Stephon Anthony, that's what I'm thinking about. Stephon Anthony was from Clemson and actually did a good job in his rookie year. I think he tied Ricky Jackson's tackle record. He tied it that year. Either broke or tied, remind me. I think he tied it. But then after that, it all changed. And the Saints defense at that time changed, and he just kind of got lost in it. But he was a big linebacker, 6'4". He was playing with confidence that first year, and I knew the kid could play. But ultimately, after when that second year came up, they were like, man, this dude garbage. I'm like, man, that dude was not garbage. The Saints had a schematic change. And they changed everything. I remember the Saints had Will Smith, rest in peace, playing outside linebacker. Put one in the chat if y'all remember that. The Saints did that. They had Will Smith playing outside linebacker at the back end of his career. Y'all remember that? They had, what was the guy we picked up from Washington in the second round of the pick? Haloi Kakaha. Y'all remember Kakaha? Kakaha was the guy they picked up out of Washington. He had 11-something sacks. He led college that year in sacks out of Washington. But the problem is with him that he had issues with his knees. And ultimately, they had that guy standing like they had Haloi Kakaha dropping back into coverage. He never done that at any point of his college career. All he knew how to do was rush the pass, and the Saints had this man dropping back in coverage like he's a linebacker. I was like, these people are insane. Of course, it didn't yield any positive results. How could it? It's insane. It's just crazy. But anyway, that's what Brian mad about. He's still mad about Stephon Anthony. All right, so anyway, let's move on to the next article right here. And this is coming from Adam Schefter, one of the best insiders in the game. He's talking about Cam Jordan. The Saints are working on reworking Cam Jordan's contract, and they're trying to save an additional $10 million. So there they go. So you had the $17 million from the reworking of Alvin Kamara and Alvin Kamara and Marshon Lattimore, and now the Saints are working on reworking the contract of Cam Jordan. Maybe they add some years to Cam. You know, he's just got like 1 year left on that deal. Maybe the Saints kind of add another year to Cam to kind of keep him here. We'll see. They're working on it, and the Saints are ultimately still working on Can guard Mike's contract as well, you know, to free that up. So they're working on redoing his contract, and according to the insiders a couple of days ago, said that it is going well. So Cam and Mike Thomas is being worked on as the Saints look to free up even more money. So cool, very cool, Saints, and we know they're getting close and close. They're trying to get as much of it done as they possibly can. So going into free agency, they've signed the quarterback of the future for 4 years anyway. And now some of the more glaring needs the Saints could focus on will be interesting to see what, you know, they can. It becomes very clear. It's no smoke screen, no confusion here. We know what we need to do. Quarterback is not an issue. Maybe backup quarterback, depending on what Jameis do. You know who that's going to end up being. Running back situation, that could be something the Saints find about in the draft, because you know Alvin Kamara is going to need some help if something happened with AK-41. But Saints getting busy in the building to kind of get the money down on time. All right, so that's a part of the deal right here. And this is more from the tweet from Saints News Network. Shout out to those brothers. Saints almost there to get in line with the salary cap as they have restructured the contract of Cam Jordan to pick up another $10 million in space. The Saints have reworked the contract of reworked the contract of Cam. According to Adam Schefter, the move will make New Orleans pick up an additional $10 million in cap space. The team has to be compliant with the salary cap prior to the start of the league new year on Wednesday. And the Jordan was also a major puzzle piece to get them there. The Saints could still look at, they already did that with Marshon Lattimore. This was wrote prior to that, but this is some of the things that they were looking at doing. Now, Jordan will be 34 at the beginning of July. He's the all-time sack leader for the Saints, and a big part of what the team do this season. Do the Saints add extra years, playable years? Do they rework Cam's contract, add a couple years to it? Here, Cam should ultimately never play for another team. The Saints should lock up Cam, and he becomes a career Saint. He never sees any other team for the rest of his playing career but the New Orleans Saints. Cam has earned that. He's earned that just like Drew Brees earned that. You know, so when Cam retires, they need to hang his jersey up and retire just like they do Drew Brees. They need to put his jersey up there and retire it. All right, so anyway, that's some of the stuff. Saints getting in work, trying to make the stuff shake and pop. And, of course, this is something right here just to throw on the Saints family members. The Saints won't retender restricted free agent wide receiver Marquez Callaway. Saints could be active in the draft for a wide receiver. And to be honest with you, fam, you look at what the Saints are dealing with, this is the perfect draft for the Saints to find wide receivers from round 3 on back. They can find a young wide receiver. Q, why would we draft the wide receiver? Because to be honest with you, you know, what you have, what if Mike Thomas, not throwing nothing on Mike, I love Mike Thomas, but if Mike has another setback, you could have a guy in place, a young wide receiver, a big physical wide receiver with some speed. They got several really good ones in this draft. So, you know, a bunch of good ones in there that you can get from round 3 on back that you can add to your wide receiver core in case of injury to your player. You can still have these guys to help out, you know, so they can find somebody, but Callaway might be gone from the squad. You know, Callaway could be gone. So this is coming from the Canal Street Chronicles. The Saints may be without a familiar face next season. Was announced that the team won't retender a restricted free agent wide receiver Marquez Callaway. Doesn't mean Callaway is off the team yet, but he will be a restricted free agent. And this is coming from Fowler, as they're saying the Saints are not expected to tender him, which means he pretty much, but he maybe Callaway to a degree had a off season last year. Prior to this year, he was looking really strong in his motions in the wide receiver room. But you know what happened to him? Rashid Shaheed happened to Marquez Callaway. That's what the hell happened. Rashid Shaheed came in that thing, man, and just took over. I mean, he picked up the game. It was just amazing how Rashid Shaheed stepped on the field and just claimed that stuff. He just claimed it like it was for him all the time. And he was hurt, banged up. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Harty got hurt, moved out of the way. Callaway was there, and then Rashid Shaheed stepped on there and just took it over. Just took it over and never looked back. Never. And remember, unrestricted guy, unrestricted free agent. Saints got him. Boom. Just push past the rest of them. So, yeah, that's a big part of why the Saints looking at Callaway say, hey, man, Rashid Shaheed, that dude was magnificent. Anyway, let's keep it pushing, fam. And this is right here. They got to update the numbers, but it's showing that we should, I don't think they're up. No, they're saying 16 million. But really, the Saints should be in the black by now. I think they're in the black right now. So they're just showing they haven't updated their cap space. They're showing the Saints at roughly 16 million in the hole. Right now, this is not correct. This is not accurate from over the cap. So right now, the Saints should be in compliance right now, but you still, I'm just putting this list up here just to show you that there's still work to be done. You still got Jameis Winston, because we know Jameis is not going to take that restructure deal to stay with the Saints. I just think Jameis still, he wants to play. There will be opportunities. So if that's the case, the Saints get almost 13 million back right there by designating him a post-June 1st cut. So they get 13 million from Jameis. And Andrews Pete, the question is with Andrews Pete, because to be honest with you, that's the bigger question. What do the Saints do with Andrews Pete? I've been talking about this. Like, Andrews is the question. We know Jameis is gone. They rework Laddie Daddy. They rework Cam. They working on a contract for Michael Thomas. They're also Laddie Daddy's done. Kamara, Cam, can't guard Mike. Everybody else is redone. Only two people left. Jameis, he definitely, I don't think he stays, and the Saints will get 13 million from him. That puts him even 13 million further in, into the black. And then Andrews Pete could be another almost 12 million, 11.8 to be precise, that they can basically get for him if they designate him as such as a cut as well. But do the Saints want to get from up under Andrews Pete's contract? Is it this the year where the Saints say, you know what? Well, let's do something cheaper here than Andrews Pete. They can move beyond Andrews Pete here. What do you guys think about it? You guys know that I respect and I like Andrews Pete. I do. But if even I have to say the most staunch supporter of Andrews as I've been over the years, even I have to say that availability is an issue, big time issue with Andrews Pete. So if the Saints want to get from under Andrews Pete, this would be the year to do it, because they can also go in the draft and draft an offensive lineman with either with the second round pick. The first pick should be an interior defensive lineman. Second round pick could be an offensive lineman, or the Saints can do it in a reverse order. They can draft an offensive lineman if Cyrus Torrance is there. If Torrance is there, I would take him out of Florida if he's there at the back of the draft. That will replace Andrews Pete for cheap. You have a guy, he has a mean streak, big physical guy, man. He'll be special in the interior of the offensive line. And the next pick will probably Mozzie Smith will be gone, but Big Ika will be there, the dancing bear from Baylor. So, I mean, you get both interior linemen, offensive and defensive, in the first two picks. And I'm always a guy that loves to build the lines. You cannot win if your lines are crap. We seen that last year, didn't we? Our defensive line was crap. We did get the sacks and, and stuff like that, but we let people run on us. You know, when they ran on us, they kept the defense out there. We need to prevent that. So it's getting finer and finer as we find out exactly where we need to go with this. Okay, so let's move and take another peek once again at the Saints. This is the Saints depth chart as it stands unofficially, but you see right what it sees. You see Derek Carr there, Alvin Kamara is there, Chris Olave. You see Michael Thomas and Rashid Shaheed, your top guys. Of course, Jarvis Landry's not on the team anymore. Keith Kirkwood is. Marquez Callaway is going to be gone. The Saints do have Quan Baker, the 7th-round draft pick of several years ago out of University of Alabama. So he was an interesting guy, too. We'd love to see what Quan Baker did. Remember, he got suspended for PEDs last year. Kind of got in the doghouse. They released him, then brought him back. Quan Baker, let's see what he can do as we move forward. But I expect the Saints to take a wide receiver somewhere in this draft. It's too many good ones at the back of the 3rd round going between the 3rd and the 7th for them not to take. They're going to get a good wide receiver to go along with it. Another thing the Saints did yesterday was they pinned Juwan Johnson to a 2-year extension, which was phenomenal. Love that. So the Saints are getting these moves out of the way early on. Restructuring Mike Thomas. A healthy Mike should be available for training camp. Inking Juwan Johnson to a 2-year extension. You know, and they still have Troutman and Taysom Hill there. They reworked Taysom's deal as well. Lucas Krull from Pitt is a very good option there. So the Saints looking good there. They can fortify it with some more depth running back position. Mark Ingram should retire. He's done. His contract is over with. Dwayne Walsh, all these guys. So the Saints should get, you know, some undrafted guys to help, perhaps a guy in the draft as well. Drafting a running back and a wide receiver. They have enough picks and they can fulfill this and look pretty good, then add undrafted talent at the back of the draft once that happens, depending on how they move in free agency. Could see the Saints taking a cheap veteran backup like they did with Jarvis Landry. Not saying it's Jarvis, but perhaps there is a guy out there, a veteran wide receiver that you can get that you don't have to spend a lot of money on. Like the Saints spent like $6 million for 1 year on Jarvis Landry. You know, something like that, just as a insurance piece, just in case Mike has a setback. You know, we've been here before, so we have to look at it accordingly. Looking at the offensive line, as you can see, Trevor Penion's there. Hold on, let me put it on the bigger screen, family, so y'all can see a little bit better. But my people got to scrunch their eyes, man. Let me put it on the bigger. There we go. All right, baby, there we go, baby. All right, so anyway, from the left tackle position, you see Trevor Penning, not Pinion, but Trevor Penning is the left tackle. Andrus is the biggest question mark in the history of known mankind. For the New Orleans Saints, that is. Now, of course, if Andrus Peat is not there, the Saints do have James Hurst, who can start on the inside. And I love Hurst as an interior offensive lineman versus being on the edge. I think he does so well in the interior. So if Andrus moves and the Saints say, nah, we good, let's move Hurst there, the Saints just simply would have to add additional depth there. We need to work on our offensive line depth, either through the draft, definitely in the free agency period, maybe a sturdy veteran in the 2nd or 3rd levels of it. But if Andrus Peat is moved on from James Hurst, would simply slide in his position, and we have to find a viable backup to replace our swing offensive lineman there. Eric McCoy in the center, Cesar Ruiz stepped up big time for the Saints. Shout out to Doug Marrone on there. And Ryan Ramczyk has to get healthy and live up to big check. You know, he has to play better. Kelvin Throckmorton was re-signed. You still have Landon Young, Lewis Kidd. So the Saints do have a few people on the practice squad, but more than likely, no doubt about it, the Saints definitely need to upgrade the depth on the offensive line. Didn't like it at all last year. On the defensive side of the ball, you see Cam Jordan there, Carl Granderson, Jabari Zuniga, and then interiorly, Malcolm Roach, Kentavious Street, Albert Huggins, those guys left, Prince Emili, or what you have. So you're definitely in need of depth. Of course, still have Malcolm Roach. Kent Street is a free agent. And Huggins, I think, is a practice squad guy. I'm going to have to check on his deal. But the Saints need help interiorly. You can see that off top. Wouldn't be mad if the Saints went the first 2 picks of the draft was 2 interior defensive linemen or even a pass rusher, a defensive end, and then a defensive tackle. But you're going to need 2 guys, man. You're going to need 2 guys. And, of course, you see Davenport's gone. So the Saints, are they good with passing over there? Or Peyton Turner, you know, that's that, you know, we'll see about that. So Pete Werner, Demario Davis, we talk about Kaden Ellis. Should Kaden Ellis be brought back? Absolutely. Because, you know, Pete Werner's going to miss time because he plays harder than his body could stand. So you're going to need somebody to take the weight. Kaden Ellis did really well. Zach Bourne, get the hell out of here. And then, of course, we have some backups. A guy that was hurt last year was DeMarco Jackson. Remember, we took him. So we'll love to see what he looks like in camp moving forward. But yes, Kaden Ellis should be resigned. We'll see if he can do it or if he'll be pilfered from the Saints, just like David Onyemata. We know that Ryan Nielsen took over the defense for the Atlanta Falcons. Does he take Kaden Ellis from you too? That's something to watch out for, fam. Does he? Because Ryan Nielsen, he knows who Kaden Ellis is, and he could very well try to pilfer Kaden Ellis from the Saints, and the Saints will have to look for a replacement, I say, in the draft, or see if they can find a good veteran linebacker like we did last year when we had the brother we picked up from the from the Minnesota Vikings, and we brought him in. He was a special team, a preseason phenom, training camp phenom. Then we practice squatted him, and then he was pilfered away by the Green Bay Packers. Y'all remember that, brother? All right, so anyway, we got some movements left to be made here. And then, of course, our secondary. Paulson Adebo and Laddie Daddy looking pretty solid there. Marcus Mann, Tyrann Mathieu. And then behind him, we know Sorensen was on a 1-year deal. Justin Evans was on a 1-year deal. Bradley Roby need to get the hell out of here. Chris Harris was on a 1-year deal. We know Alante Taylor is the future of the team. So the Saints do have some guys. We know PJ was on a 1-year deal. So some of these guys can come back cheap. We know JT Gray just re-upped for for 3 years, And then you still have Smoke Monday and guys like Troy Pride Jr., who's a pretty decent defensive back in college. But you still need depth from the safety position. And could the Saints take a cornerback? Well, the Saints, they could very well get another veteran or whatnot, because we can need to upgrade over Chris Harris Jr. Smart veteran, but really too slow. Back there, he gets toasted a lot. Bradley Roby is like the reincarnation of, what's his name? Not Usama Young, but Patrick Robinson. He just stinks, man. It was a bad trade for us. He stinks, back there. But anyway, Marcus May facing discipline from the league for the DUI situation he brung over here from the Jets. Plus, he could be facing discipline for the issue that he had when he was brandishing so-called or allegedly brandishing a firearm against a car or to a car on his side. And that also is some discipline or something that he's going to have to face this upcoming years. And the fact of the matter, he missed 6 games last year. So he dealing with legal issues. Plus he missed games last year. You need some help back there. Now we know Alante Taylor could be a guy that plays the safety position as well. He plays some corner, a little nickel, so he's a versatile guy. The Saints could reach in the draft and get some help there, or perhaps reach in free agency and see if they can find a veteran cornerback that fits what they're trying to do. So, we got some stuff we need to look at. And, of course, you see the special teams unit as Alex Quavito, which is a guy they picked up and put on the practice squad to challenge Will Lutz, because Will Lutz didn't look like Clutch Lutz last year. He looked like Klutz Lutz. Klutz. Not Clutch, but Klutz. Will Klutz last year. He was not Will Clutch Lutz. He was Will Klutz Lutz. He was very clumsy last year, kicking them down field goal. He was like 10 accuracy points lower than what he usually is. And it was like, okay, well, let's see what he looks like this year, because the core surgery was really big. Could he rebound and get back to his prior self? We'll see. Alex Corvedo is here to push Lutz for that position. Blake Gilligan's the guy the Saints need to look at, kind of working on too, to get him here long term. So, and then our return game, Deontay Harris Hardy. Does Deontay Harris Hardy start? I don't know. Deontay wants some money, some bread. I would love to have his speed, him and Rashid Shaheed here. But, the Saints will be working with so much money, and it depends how effective they say. But Q, we might have 15 to 20 million once everything filters through for the cap. But the way the Saints operate is they'll sign a veteran, then the first year they'll get it pinned all the way down to like $1 million or something like that. And the guy, and all of it will be thrown into the second and third or the fourth year, depending on how long the length of the contract is. So the first year is never the year that impact the Saints. If they're going into free agency with this mentality, the Saints could be very active in free agency to pick up 2 or 3 players that they can bring on the team to have an impact. So remember, regardless if they're working with 15 or 20 million or north of 20 million, the Saints will graft these contracts in a way where they're always a factor in free agency. That's what they do, man. So, and this is just a quick peek at the unofficial depth chart for the Saints because some of these guys are free agents. All right, let's look at what happened right now, family, in the NFC South as it stands, right? In the NFC South as it stands right now. NFC South right now. All right, the Atlanta Falcons, low smiling from ear to ear right now. Chris Lindstrom, offensive lineman, re-signed with the team, 5 years, 105, entering the final year of his contract. They also acquired in trade from the Patriots, Jonnu Smith. They gave up a 2023 7th-round draft pick, number 245 overall, to get Jonnu Smith to back up Kyle Pitts. The edge situation, they re-signed Lorenzo Carter to a 2-year deal. They pilfered from the Saints David Onyemata on a 3-year deal at $35 million. That includes $24.5 million in fully guaranteed money. No way the Saints was going to match that. They also signed the best safety in free agency, Jesse Bates, to a 4-year deal, just over $64 million, with $23 million in year 1. And of course, Bradley Pinion, not to be confused with Trevor Pinion, but this is Bradley Pinion, agreed to a 3-year deal at $8.65 million. He receives over $4.3 million in guarantees, including $3.5 million in 2023. Moving on to the Carolina Panthers. They got your boy. They got 2 former Saints, man. Come on, man. Come on, Carolina. Shy Tuttle, they agreed to a 3-year deal at $19.5 million. That includes $13.5 million in guaranteed money. Shout out to Shy Tuttle as he getting paid. Von Bell left the Saints to Cincinnati. Now he's coming back to the NFC South. He signed a deal with the Panthers. No money reported. Oh, there you go. What's up, Rashad? Shout out to you. He says that on notice. There you go, talking, bro. We gonna talk in the NFC South show, family. The NFC South show we're gonna be doing. When is it? When is it, Rashad? I think it's when is it, bro? Wednesday. I think we're gonna be doing the NFC South show, family, on Wednesday. So y'all make sure y'all tune in. See, Carolina really feeling themselves right now, man. You can't tell, you can't do, it's like Kanye West back in the days, man. You can't tell Carolina nothing right now. You can't tell them nothing right now. Boy, they are feeling it right now. Boy, they so hopped up on hopium right now. You can't tell them nothing. They can't tell them nothing. All right, so they pilfer Shy Tuttle from us. And Von Bell, the former Saints. And see, that's what I'm saying. They don't know this are former Saint people. The Saint, but they're telling us the Saints are garbage, the Saints are bad. But most of these people are pilfering the Saints players or former players to get success, or their coaches or their execs. So which is it? And of course, here is what the Saints have done so far. The Saints have signed Carr 4-year, $150. That includes $60 and fully guaranteed at signing with another $10 million. They done made Derek Carr an even richer man. In year 3, vested after year 1, Carr's deal, which also features a no trade clause, has $100 million in total guarantees. How about that? All right. How about that? That's something else. But listen, this improves the Saints offense. Love the move because what it does is it makes the Carolina Panthers defense play us off. They have to play them safeties back because they know Carr going to take it up top, which gives the Saints room to operate underneath. So I'm loving it. You're going to keep them safeties back, and that gives Kamara room to dance around there, and Rashid Shaheed and whoever else we got running around there. Taysom Hill. They don't like Taysom. All right, so anyway, and then Juwan Johnson signed a 2-year deal, a 2-year extension at $12 million. That includes $8.5 million fully guaranteed. Johnson would have been a restricted free agent at the start of the league new year. So the Saints get Carr, and they give him the tight end, Juwan Johnson. And we talked about in the stream about Juwan Johnson and all these undrafted guys that made their way. That's why I love it, man. Juwan Johnson is another one of these fantastic success stories of what the Saints were able to do with undrafted talent that came in the league, and they took this. This man was a wide receiver. The Saints converted into a tight end, and by year 3 of the experiment, he's our starting tight end. He's playing better ball than Adam Troutman, who was drafted in the 3rd round, who they basically handed the position to. Jawan Johnson is a major success story, and that's what we do in the Black and Gold building. We make success stories. We get the best undrafted guys, and we make it work. So shout out to Jawan Johnson, man, for climbing up that ladder and staying with it, man. Shout out to you, brother. And the Tanu Passanio signed a 2-year deal at $6 million. That includes $2.5 million fully guaranteed. Now I thought it was a 3-year deal. But Rappaport saying it's a 2-year deal. I thought it was 3. But anyway, defensive back JT Gray, our special teams ace, signed a 3-year deal, almost $10 million. And the contract value max at 11.1 includes $2.4 million at signing. So another success story, JT Gray as well. Another undrafted guy who became a Pro Bowl as a special teamer and got broke off for it. So we just loaded with good success stories. And of course, Tampa Bay Buccaneers not saying much. Only thing they did so far was sign cornerback Jamal Dean to a contract. So they basically did that. So right now, Atlanta dancing around. As you can see, my brothers, the PNP camp with Rashard and Dave, loving what they're doing, and they saying that they putting the Who Dat Nation on notice about what's going on. So listen, the movements, family, just to be honest with you, listen, a lot of these movements that you see going on in the NFC South, it's the understanding that they see the NFC South as open. You see, they see it as open. Like it is ours. We gonna claim it. We gonna claim the NFC South. We gonna do. So Atlanta's looking at it like that. The Carolina Panthers are looking at it like that. Maybe not so much Tampa Bay. You know, they're gonna be bringing up the rear until we see what kind of moves that they're making. But let me tell you something. It is going to be fun watching this happen, man. So we gotta make them moves, man. We gotta make the moves. All right. So anyway, let's do some recap, family. And if you got any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. I'm not going to be here very long with you guys after doing the story. So if you got any questions, quickly just throw them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them. All right. So we started the broadcast off, family, with the news that Saints defensive tackle David Onyemata agreed to a 3-year deal to the Falcons. So it's just funny how I just look around at the NFC South and I'm looking around. I'm saying, say, bro, you look familiar. Didn't you used to play for the Saints? Well, yes, I did. I developed in the Black and Gold building. Say, cuz, don't I know you from somewhere? Didn't you used to play for the Saints? Well, yes, I used to be a safety for the Saints. I used to be. Say, bro, didn't I know you from somewhere, bro? Did you used to be in the Saints building for like 12 years or whatever it is? You started like at first sweeping up and then now you became an executive? Yeah, well, yeah, matter of fact. To be the best, you must, what they said about, you know what I would say, to be the best, you must beat the best. I ain't gonna even say that. I'm gonna just say you gotta fake it till you make it. So hey, listen, the only thing I'm saying, we're not running over to Atlanta say, hey, bro, let me get you, come on over here to the Black and Gold. We ain't Carolina, hey, man, y'all need some work, come on over here. We not doing none of that, brother. We're not doing none of that, man. We're not doing none of that. We're not looking at Atlanta or none of these people trying to pilfer their people. You know, especially for starters, if you're a backup, that's one thing. Like we did when you got Evans. When you got Evans was a guy that wasn't even playing. Oh, man. Anyway, we're going to see. But anyway, Onyemata on his way to Atlanta to join the Falcons next to Big Grady. And that should be a very interesting tandem, to be honest with you. And word on the street is the Atlanta Falcons are looking at Marcus Davenport to put on that defensive line or that defense period that is ran by former defensive coordinator or co-coordinator, Mr. Ryan Nielsen, who cut his teeth in the pros in the Black and Gold building. He will be a phenomenal defensive coordinator. And don't be surprised if Kaden Ellis is not heading to Atlanta as well, because we would think some of these people are like, hey, man, it's a secret. He'll get lost in the sauce. They ain't going, no. Ryan Nielsen remembers who Kaden Ellis is, and he knows that the Saints probably not going to match a lucrative deal for Kaden Ellis' service to get a young guy like Kaden in a system that he's already going to be familiar with in Atlanta. So might be a few twists and turns on this system because Ryan Nielsen has his own ideologies, but still in all, it'd be familiar enough for Kaden Ellis to be acclimated to it. So Ryan Nielsen knows who Kaden Ellis is. They could use some help in the linebacker room. Wouldn't be surprised. This won't be it. David Onyemata won't be the only guy Atlanta pilfers from you. God, I'm just telling you. All right, Faith of a Saint. Oh, man, that's a terrific title right there. Faith of a Saint. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you, people, for hitting that subscribe button. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you. K-Man, St. John Butler. What's up, Brother John? How you doing, bro? Country Rail, shout out to you. And Tragic, shout out to you as well. I call the Falcons, man, let me tell you something. I call the Falcons the New Orleans East. That's what I call you been to the East lately? New Orleans East, that's what the Falcons are, man. That's what they are. They got your former guy running the team. They got your former guy as a defensive coordinator. They got former players there that they're bringing over. It's the New Orleans East. That's what you call the Atlanta Falcons. All right, and speaking about other people going, the Panthers, we talked about this. Got Shy Tuttle. We mentioned this. He's going over there with them on the payday. Saints rework the deals of Kamara and Lattimore as we get closer and closer to the start of free agency and the league new year. You got to get that in together or be fined. So the Saints are going all about the diligence of reworking contracts to get under or get into the black. Once again, we talked about the tweet that was thrown out there by Schefter about the Saints working to get Cam Jordan underneath. So you had $17 million of cap relief. The Saints reworked between Laddie Daddy and Kamara and an additional $10 million from Cam. So that's 17 plus 10 makes 27, which puts the Saints in the black. So most of these sites have not upgraded that, but that's my math is saying that the Saints should be in the black right now. Because the 17 million right now between Lattimore and Kamara's deal puts it in the black, right? Should be in the black now. Plus the additional 10 puts the Saints in the black by another 10, which should roughly be anywhere between 11 and $12 million back in the black. Now the Saints can get an additional so that's 11 million. It's rough stuff here, fam. The Saints should be 11 to 12 million in the black right now. And you add the potential Jameis Winston situation where that'll be another, $12 million, $13 million for Jameis, that they'll eventually get. And then, of course, Andrews Pete. The Saints need to see about what goes on with Andrews Pete. Then the Michael Thomas situation, which the deadline on the Michael Thomas situation for them to get the contract reworked is March the 18th. So 15th for the league new year, start of free agency. And the 18th for the reworking, that's the deadline for the Michael Thomas contract. So the Saints are working and doing multiple things to get this all done at the right time. So Jameis gives them some more money, but that's a post June 1st cut that they'll get that 13, whatever it is, million, I think, 13 million or whatever it is. Andrews Pete represents almost 12 million if they do the same thing. So do they rework his deal? Probably they're going to rework Andrews' watch. They don't want too much play going on. They probably going to rework Andrews' contract watch. They're going to probably rework him. I don't see him putting him in the street. But then again, not everybody could stay. All right, so anyway, and then we talked about the depth chart situation with the black and gold here. Went over that. And, of course, we went into the what's going on in our NFC South. Atlanta with a lot of money, making a lot of moves to try to fix that defense and add some pieces there to be more competitive. The Carolina Panthers trying to get something going, fixing that interior defensive line, adding Von Bell on the back of the defense. And one thing I can say about Carolina's movements, they've been very consistent since they hired the coach. The coach, Frank Wright's done a really good job of putting together a good coaching staff there, and they've been making solid moves. They've been making very direct and moves like they have a plan. They were able to traded away DJ Moore and some other stuff to move all the way up to the top of the draft where they sit positioned for the quarterback. I think my boy Rashard and Dave, they like CJ Stroud as their guy. So if anything, whether you believe in them or not, you got to give them credit. You've got to give those guys credit for what they're doing in terms of being direct and handling the business. So they got a plan, man, and they're executing it. Anyway, let's get a few questions in the chat, man. Shout out to the fam. in let's see, with the New Orleans East. That's what we call the Atlanta Falcons family, the New Orleans East. That's all they do is pilfer our guys. All right. Any questions, fam, in the chat for your boy? You got anything? Okay. 504 Cole says Q, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery that mediocrity can pay to greatness. Okay. Yeah. And they just emulating what they believe to be success. Even though the Saints haven't been to the playoffs in 2 years, man, Atlanta's not been there in 6 or 7 years. Carolina hadn't been in there for 4 years. I mean, Rashad, how long has it been since y'all not been in the playoffs, bro? You know, Saints it's been a 2-year vacation, or not a vacation, but a hiatus from the playoffs. These other teams haven't been in the playoffs in years. It's been a while. At least 4 years for Carolina, I want to say, because they damn sure didn't do nothing as long as they had that other guy at the quarterback. I mean, at the head coaching position, you know? All right. So any questions for the fam? If not, then I'm going to dirk out. All right. Shout out, JT. Good to see you, brother. All right, Travis. Hold on. Let me see. All right. Got a few of them I think I'm missing. All right. So, yeah, KT says, WDN says, I hope Rashid wasn't a false prophet like Marquez and Deontay, where there's something different about him, though, something better. Yeah, I like, you know, Rashid Shaheed, I think he's the real deal, bro. I mean, it was his first year. And look what kind of, look how he looked in his first year. I mean, I absolutely love how that kid grabbed the offense and took off special teams, and he has the it factor. You know what I'm saying? And nothing was too much for him. And boy, when he got in the games, he made things happen. He was the fastest guy on the field. He gets out there, catch the ball, and just takes off. Just takes the hell off. So anyway, he said, okay, Brian said, what is the first move in free agency for the Saints? Well, I mean, I guess from a standpoint, the Saints, I guess you can either do one or two things. You have some things you can do. Perhaps the Saints look in free agency, and I don't know if I'm kind of leaning on them being more conservative this year. Perhaps they find a veteran wide receiver to kind of add behind into the wide receiver depth chart in the room, like they did with Jarvis Landry last year as insurance policy for Alvin Kamara. I mean, not Alvin, for Michael Thomas. Alvin Kamara, speaking of which, do you find a guy in the draft or in free agency for Alvin, just in case he has an issue with him in the league discipline, which more than likely he's going to face? Then again, it's a slim chance he could beat that. I know it's a slim chance, but still he could beat it. We still dealing with the American justice system, which you can beat stuff like that if you got money and you know how to spend the money and you put the money in the right people's hands. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen in justice. Remember that lady up there holding them scales wear a blind. She got a blind on her eyes. So anyway, yeah, we'll see how it all stakes. But the first move in free agency should be, I would say, I would want the Saints to go after a pass rusher. That's what I would want. The Saints, when they clear up so many, see if they can go after a pass rusher, a veteran guy. We done spent picks to go and get rookies, guys out of the draft to play next to Cam Jordan. I think we really need to go after like a veteran edge rusher, a good one, a guy that was out there that can really help out on the other side. Somebody that can go out there and get pressure from the other side. I would really, really love to see that from the Saints. Now, we do have a few needs in terms of, and it depends on what we do in free agency, if we can get Kaden Ellis back and all this other stuff. But we could use some depth stuff. But really, if the first move I would like to see in free agency is for the Saints to go out and see if they can find a pass rusher that can complement Cam on the other side. We really could use that, family. I'm not comfortable with Tanu Passanio and Peyton Turner as our guys opposite of Cam Jordan. I'm not comfortable with that. I would really like us to go. So the first move, I'd be like, man, let's see if we can get the pass rusher that we can afford, or a guy that we can bring here and play opposite of Cam and put some pressure on the other side. Give him a true compliment to the best of our ability. And maybe this other stuff, interiorly speaking, because you got two openings inside the defensive line now with Onyemata and Shai Tuttle going. You got two starters positions that you got to fill. Maybe you assign a very good interior defensive tackle in free agency, a veteran guy there, and then you draft another guy to fill them, as opposed to having 2 draft picks in the interior of the defensive line, maybe one veteran and another rookie in the draft process, which makes a lot of sense there. You see, so whatever the case may be, it should be defensive line should be the first move the Saints make in free agency. They need a compliment to Cam, man. I'm not comfortable with passing Yo and Peyton Turner, man. I'm sorry, I'm not. All right, any other questions, fam, before we dart out on this thing? Thank you, Brian, for that question, man. All right, what's up, brother Hennessy? Shout out to you, man. He says they could pay. He says, listen, they can overpay 5 players that were on decline. Onyemata has been okay, but his production was down. Yeah, his production was down last year, but like I was saying, man, it's a team game. Like the defensive line it all works together. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm a defensive lineman next to you, and you're a nose tackle or a defensive tackle, and your job is to draw double teams. If you're drawing the double teams, more than likely I'm getting single block, which means that I can beat a single block. I can get off on the second block. But many times you've seen them double blocking David Onyemata, and Shy Tuttle couldn't get off most of the time. So I'm like, that ain't gonna work. If you go back and look at the footage from the last several years, like when they had Malcolm Brown there, you seen the best out of David Onyemata. He was just all over the place because last year he got worn down. The Saints got pushed on down there in the interior defensive line because them guys Shy Tuttle simply wasn't handling the business like that. So for Brother Rashad, for a little scouting information about Shy Tuttle, if y'all want me give you the game on Shy Tuttle, you better have a big space eater, and I think y'all do. Y'all got a big space eater down there to play next to him. If you got that, then he should play a lot better because he's not a guy that you want to rely on to draw double teams unless he gets a lot stronger. But David Onyemata was a guy that works well with a complement nose tackle or a defensive tackle like a Malcolm Brown type that draws double teams. And if you got that guy there, you'll get the best out of David Onyemata. You really would. So, you know, I hear what you're saying. His production was down last year, but look at the whole thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't just him. Them guys was stinking up in there. And then when they collapsing on the interior defensive line, the linemen get leaking through, you know, because you need one guy. It's 4 against 5. So somebody got to draw the extra guy, you know, on the offensive line. If they're getting blocked single one-on-one, the extra lineman leaks out to the linebackers, pushes them out and free opening lanes for the running back to run behind them. It creates a whole problem when the interior defensive line are not doing what they're supposed to do. The Demario Davis and Pete Werner, they can't play clean. They can't drop into coverage and do what they need to do or blitz and run support. They can't do none of that. They have, you know, those linemen coming through, pushing them out the way, and then here come the running backs behind them, shooting out behind them, getting to the second layer and into the third layer of your defense. We've seen that repeatedly last year. It was a failure in the interior defensive line. And that's what it was. So for both of those guys to go somewhere else, it opens up things for us now where we know what we need to do. So we need help on our defensive line, man. We really do. Yeah, speed kills, L. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah. Resign Sheldon Rankins, Japanese Hercules. I don't know, bro. Sheldon Rankins' biggest problem was his availability. That's why we kept David Onyemata. Is he over that? I don't know. I don't know about the Sheldon Rankins thing. I think could we do a little bit better than Sheldon Rankins? He is familiar with what you're doing, but can we do it better than him? What's up, Luke? Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to Rich. Thank you, bro. He says Q, jury out on everything until training camp. Yes, my friend. We dealing with a justice system that can be bought and paid for, bro. Listen. It looks bad for Kamara. It looks really bad. Him stumping on that guy, and the judge gonna ask me, hey, man, was you trying? I got 2 questions for you. Number 1 is, were you trying to make grape juice? Or number 2, you got a weird way of trying to clean the bottom of your shoes off. That's the. Number 3, couldn't you find another place to pretend you was in a bouncy house at? That's the 3 questions about the judge I'm asking Kamara. But at the end of the day, man, based on a lot of stuff that I was seeing over the years with the Justice Department, with the justice period in this country, man, listen, I'm gonna just leave it up there. Ryan says, I like Callaway. I think it was just off a year for him. with a new QB Dalton that threw a few bad passes to him. Remember that crazy? Yeah, I remember, bro. He had against Carolina last year. Of course, Rashid Shaheed also was a part of why Callaway didn't get a lot of burn. Yeah, Rashid Shaheed just stepped up and really ran at that thing. All right, so let's see who else we got. Eternal, what's up, Eternal? Says, do you think we're switching to a 3-4 defense? I don't think so, bro. I think, Dennis Allen said that when, what was that? When he first, a couple of years ago, several years ago, he mentioned the Saints. He talked about the 43 defense. He talked about switching to the 3-4 defense and doing stuff like that. But no, I think Dennis Allen's pretty much going to play that modified nickel, 2 linebacker look. You know, I think that's the defense that he prefers. He's really comfortable with that defense. And I think probably that's the defense that he sticks with. Now, every now and again, you see him switch to the 43 defense. But the majority of the time, the Saints are in that modified nickel with the 2 linebacker look. You know, so, you know, I don't think they're going to switch to that. Travis says best available in draft or we'll move down to get the plug and play D. All right. Thank you. All right. Shout out to you. What's up, Jeffrey? Says, well said, Big Q. If the money there, it can't be. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. All right. Any questions, though? Thank you, Rich, for your super chat, bro. Shout out to you. Yeah, people saying re-sign PJ Williams, and the Saints probably will, man. That's a cheap proposition to make to him. Shout out to you, Colorado. Good to see you, fam. Yeah, Poona Ford, not a bad look, Luke. Poona Ford's not a bad thing. Slim says, Big Q, how do you feel about Frank Clark? Not bad at all, man. Frank Clark's very productive, man. Very productive defensive end. But you know, what's the cost for such a person? You know, what is Frank? How much is Frank will cost us? Frank came from Seattle. He was with Kansas City. Frank Clark's very productive, man. So I mean, yeah, that's my look at it. Like, I don't want to use all draft picks like on the defensive line. It's like a healthy mix. Like if we get a veteran defensive tackle, not too old, somewhere in the middle. So you're gonna have to kick out a little dough for him. Maybe not one of the top ones, but maybe, you know, a couple of levels down that can come in there and effectively handle the business. And then you draft a nose tackle like a Mozzie Smith or a Dancing Bear Ika from Baylor. But the opposite defensive end, if Davenport's gone, and all accounts saying he's going to be gone, yeah, Frank Clark is an interesting person to put there. But some type of defensive end that you can bring in that is available and productive, who can complement Cam, who could play the run and the pass equally well, and that could be productive straight off the case. And they got some guys out there that you can bring in there and help out. Frank Clark is not a bad call, Slim. Shout out to you for that, bro. Good imagination on that one, brother. All right. Rankins and signing 26 almost help us to this. I hear you what you're saying on Rankins, bro. It's just, do the Saints go back to a Rankins, man? I know David Onyemata beat him out. And I don't know how he's been performing with the Jets, but I hear you on that. Could we just mention that on the board and see if we can put some other names with it? It might be a better option is what I'm saying for it, because he's a starter and you could probably, it's a premium to play for a guy. I'm thinking it's a better option is what I'm saying than Sheldon Rankins for the Saints. You know what I mean? You know, I'm gonna put him on the list, but just saying. Thank you, Zachary Trahan, bro. Shout out to Zachary Trahan for smashing that subscribe button. Appreciate you, fam. Much love. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. All right, shout out there, right? I know they've been working on it, man. Been talking about it, and I know they kept saying that a decision was forthcoming on the whole Aaron Rodgers situation. So the deal is done. They said a few hours ago that they traded him from the Green Bay Packers to the Jets. So shout out to the Jets for getting Aaron Rodgers, man. I got tired of listening to that over and over again, man. Shout out to you, K, man. Says just because I appreciate. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you for the super chat. I appreciate your support. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Much love, fam. Yeah, I just got tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers over the last several years. Will he, won't he? Will he, won't he? And finally they pulled the trigger and they got the guy that they wanted, man. So, and Garoppolo is siding with the Raiders. So the Raiders found out, hey, man, this guy's going to go to the Jets, and they just settled in with Jimmy Garoppolo. So the Raiders have Garoppolo there. Man, it's going to be interesting in the NFL. If one thing, man, I tell you, it's going to be interesting. So they go from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. Is that an upgrade, Raider Nation? We got a lot of Raider people listening to the stream. Is that an upgrade? Raider Nation, talk to me. Is that an upgrade? Is Jimmy Garoppolo over Derek Carr an upgrade? Is he? All right, I'm throwing you out. Okay, Yannick, how about that? Yannick Ngakoue. Hey, how about that, Austin? We talked about that several years ago about Yannick Ngakoue. The crazy part about it is he got traded around, moved around. What is that about? What is that about, family? Why is he having so many issues sticking and staying with teams? Is he a problem child? What's going on with all of the movement by Ngakoue? You know, would you be interested in that move? I don't know. Yeah. Quavadia says Frank Clark or Calais Campbell would be nice. Yeah, very productive veterans. Zach 504 Coach says Zach Allen, the defensive DEQ from the Arizona Cardinals. What you think? Not a bad call. Not a bad call on him. Depends on the money situation. Okay, what's up, DJ Twigger? Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. Shout out to DJ Twigger in the building. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you in that. But yeah, I like the Frank Clark. Shout out to Slim, man, for dropping the Frank Clark on us, man. Fletcher Cox from how about Fletcher? Yeah, I don't know. How much does Fletcher Cox have left though, bro? You know, with Philadelphia, man. I don't know, man. He was good for many years, but how much has he got left in the tank? How old is Malcolm Brown? I don't know, bro. Maybe in his early 30s, perhaps. The Saints could have signed him last year. I don't think anybody signed Malcolm Brown last year. We could have went back to him. I kept saying that the whole season. Why can't we just go and get him back? I was saying that. I don't know how much does Fletcher Cox have left in the tank, my dog. That's that, you know. Oh, Ryan said Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets. Hasn't happened yet. Oh, reports saying insider reporting that the awaited trade between Green Bay Packers and Jets Aaron Rodgers is going to happen. He says it is done. He says, hold on. Jets is done. History about to repeat itself. The Jets and Packers is indeed in a flat circle. Was open to plan for the Jets today, and this is Adam Schefter, NFL Network, and said no deal had been reached. One source of old news, but this is being reported by Packers Central. Trey, is that Trey Wingo? Trey Wingo on the scoop? I don't know him to be an insider, but they're saying it's basically done. That's what the guy was saying, and it's reported by what's this website? Packers Central from Fan Nation. All right. So anyway, thank you for that, bro. Okay. Yeah. Phil, shout out to you, Phil. Says I'm Cowboys, man, 24/7. Shout out to you, brother. All right. That's all right, man. We got some Cowboy people, man, that check out the stream, man. You know, we get a little bragging going on as well, you know. Shout out to my brother Law Nation, man. Law Nation's good dude, man. We had him on the stream talking smack. A funny dude, man. Much love to brother Law from Law Nation, man. All right, Luke says for the fans of Tajay Spears, check out Kalen Layburn from FSU, Marshall, potential running back sleeper. All right. All right, Austin says they're going to be a lot. Okay, yeah. Okay, what's good, Lo? Shout out to my brother Lo, man. All right. Yeah, I don't know I don't know how the Raider Nation feeling about Jimmy G as a Raider, man. You go from Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. Is that an upgrade? How y'all feel about it, Great Saint Think Tank? Shout out. I don't know if that's an upgrade. Yeah, T. Scott says Mozzie Smith from Michigan, massive human. Yeah, he would be the perfect dude, man. He'd be the perfect dude. But I don't want two young guys there. You know what I'm saying? I want a veteran there along with a young guy. You don't on the end, I want a veteran guy, you know, that can help Cam out right now. We need a veteran that can come in there and do it. We already got young guys still trying to figure out. Peyton Turner's still trying to figure it out. And I know by the traditional measurement is like if you got a defensive end or a person that's a first round draft pick, that he should be the guy that should be in the position. It's his second year there or whatever it was. What is it? It's when his second year, yeah. A couple years he's been here. He should be the guy. If Davenport's not coming back, Peyton Turner should be the guy that's fighting for the position. I see that, but the problem is how could you have faith in the guy. I'm not saying have faith, but you would have to have an insurance policy in place. Like you have to have guys say, well, Q, that's Passanio. Well, Passanio could be used inside and out. So there's value, there's duality there. But we really need to kind of not only get 2 new starters interiorly speaking, but we got to address the depth situation in our defensive line as well. So it could be several big guys. Shout out to you, brother Glenn Cox, for hitting the subscribe button. Shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. All right, so y'all got any other questions, fam, before we run? King of South Cobb says, I'm the only one that wants Davenport. No, not you. No. Not at all, bro. I've said this before. I would take Davenport back at the right price. At the right price. And I've said that before. So at the right price, I would take Davenport back. Just keeping it real with you. But the issue is you got Atlanta and my dog Lowe. Shout out to my brother Lowe in the building. There you go. Great day to be a Falcon. Hey, look, and let me ask Lowe straight up, man. Lowe, are you guys coming after Davenport? Is that the next move? Here goes the Atlanta insider himself. Now, Lowe, let me ask you this, Lowe. Shout out to my brother Lowe. Lowe, tell me right now, who's the next Saint player that you guys are looking at? Okay, you done pilfered David Onyemata from us. Now I want you, Lowe, to tell me in the chat, brother. Who else are you looking at? Who else? What else are you looking at? What other players from New Orleans are you trying to get, brother? What y'all trying to do, brother? Who else y'all looking at? And Lowe gonna tell them. Yeah, Atlanta gonna pay him. Atlanta's going to pay them. They're going to pay. They're going to pay Davenport. They have like, what, $50 million or whatever the hell it is right now? I don't know. Let me see if I can get their money up there. Let me see if I can get the felt as my brother OG called them, the Falcons. The Falcons. Yeah, for the damn people got $44 million, man. And north of $60 million. These people got $44 million to play with, fam. See, they're not as irresponsible as we are with the cap. Every year it's a fight to climb up the mountain. Some people already sitting up there. They sitting up there checking their watch. About time you got here. $44 million. All right. Okay. He said, we contacted Davenport, but we'll take him only if the deal is right. Okay. So, all right, who else you got from that you're looking at, Lowe? Yeah, and yeah, I mentioned, I don't want to say the name. I don't want Lowe to go back and tell the people, hey, man, why don't we get this guy? I don't want to mention his name. I don't want to do it. All right. Oh, he said they're also looking at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Man. You see what I'm saying, bro? The Atlanta Falcons are known as New Orleans East. That's what we calling you, Lowe. We calling you the New Orleans East, bro. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, man, it's nothing worse than to see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson wearing red and black. My goodness. Man, what kind of world do we live in? When black and gold people leave and become red and black people. What kind of world? What in the world, Bo? What in the world? All right, I have to throw Lowe's saying in that. J-Rock said, do you think the Saints may trade down to get additional picks in later rounds? I think it's a possibility, J-Rock. I remember KT asked me that. That was a really good question, by the way. When he asked it, it's definitely a possibility if the Saints feel like they can move up in the draft, like toward the, when it gets in the middle of the draft and they see somebody they like and they can see if they can do that or move back. I think it's definitely a possibility they do some dealing, trading back or whatever. But from where I sit at, the Saints look pretty good in terms of what they do. Now, we know that they ultimately working to keep Mike Thomas. That was a big question, because we would have to go out and find somebody to fill his shoes. We still need to sign a veteran wide receiver just in case, like we did with Jarvis Landry. What's going on with Andrews Pete? Are we reworking him, or are we going to go in the draft and replace him with somebody or find somebody else for him? What's up with that? And like I said, defense from a defensive prospective defensive line now takes on the number one era of the team now that we lost 2 starters inside and we don't really have a clear-cut definitive edge rusher or starter opposite of Cam Jordan. We really need to look at that. Okay, Carla said they about to snipe Kaden Big Q. Yeah, I don't think they're looking at it at Kaden Ellis, but okay. Hey, Lo, are y'all looking at? Get out your get out your feelings, Q. Okay, I hear you, Lo. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry, but let me ask you this, Lo. What about Kaden Ellis, man? Are y'all looking at Kaden Ellis, man? Yeah, Brian says CD can be burnt. Yeah, I don't know if it's. Yeah, I said that Marge Devion, Odell Beckham Jr. Is he the guy? But then again, where do you put him? Where would you put Odell Beckham Jr.? Where would you place him? You got Mike on one side, Olavi on the other side, and will Odell Beckham Jr. take like a reserve role? Would he? Or is he coming in wanting to be the man? You know, that guy always think he's the man. So I don't know. All right. So Lowe said he's looking at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, man. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see, family. It's going to be interesting this year. At Atlanta Saints, I get you. You're right, bro. You're right. You're right. Somebody said, QA, man, you think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson could come back to the Saints? Oh, man, I don't know. I don't think so. I would say no to that because Dennis Allen, the way it went, I would say no to that. Okay, Saints for Life says the Bears and Niners are interested in Davenport. One way or the other, Davenport's about here. I'd say the Saints should be looking at a veteran defensive line. So the more important free agent signing for the Saints moving forward should be Kaden Ellis. I would definitely like to have Kaden Ellis back. Brother Prime says car costs too much, NFC champ or bust. Okay, Big Low says, no, we're not in on Ellis. Okay, there you go. Okay, he might be safe then. All right, what's up, Jason? Shout out to you, my boy Jason in the building from Raider Nation. Say, bro, I hear about Garoppolo, man. Y'all got Garoppolo, huh? Jimmy G is the Raiders guy now. I don't think that's an upgrade. I don't know. I don't know if the Raiders going to be excited about Jimmy Garoppolo as their quarterback, man. I don't know. That's going to be interesting, bro. Is that an upgrade to y'all, man? In Raider Nation? I don't know, man. It's interesting. Okay, Austin says he's talking about he wants 20 million? You got to be kidding. Yeah, come on, man. You can't be saying that.
Hey, Pop, are you serious?
Yeah, I don't think that can't be right, man. That can't be right. Slade says Atlanta always take our retirees. I wish Atlanta had someone. It's all good, man. It's all good, brother. We'll just make more. We'll just make more, bro. We'll just make more. All right. So, yeah, it's all right, brother. It's all in the name of competition. All right. Luke says, Nick Underhill said he's been getting questions from other markets. Ellis hard to keep under radar. Yeah, I was trying to keep him under radar. Shout out to you, Vilma. What's up, baby? How you doing? Shout out to Vilma. Good to see you. Appreciate you hitting that super chat up. Much love to you. Thank you for that. All right. Travis says Q is Feelings one of our players too. Feeling? No, I must have screwed up something. I don't know, bro. You know, I don't know. All right. K-Man says, nah, he ain't coming back. Nah, I don't think so either, man. But anyway, with that being said, fam, I'm going to get ready to leave on that. Listen, man. Hey, Pop, are you serious? Yeah, I know, fam. I'm old school.
Hey, Pop, are you serious?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is the thing that I like a lot about what's going on with the Saints, right? This is the great thing I like. Now, despite all of the stuff that we see happening, you know, in terms of what Atlanta did today, you know, in terms of them, they're feeling pretty good because they see that there's progress there. They have a lot of money to spend, and they're not shy about spending it. Getting Jesse Bates on the back end of the defense does help. David Onyemata in the interior next to Big Grady does help. Ryan Nilsson over the defense does help. So they are improving in terms of that. Jonnu Smith also is a good addition to help the tight end room. with a big guy like Kyle Pitts operating there. The Carolina Panthers, our brothers Dave and Rashard did very good today in getting a safety in the back of their defense and an interior alignment. So it's basically, you're looking at what Atlanta done and Carolina did. They addressed, their positions, both defensive line and safety. Saints, are they going to be that active in free agency? They can be, because how the Saints tend to operate. So we still have the 15th, the deadline for Jameis to take the ultimatum from the Saints to restructure deal. I don't think that'll happen. I think Jameis will ultimately become a free agent and end up going to Tampa Bay. Watch how this plays out. Wouldn't be surprised. And ultimately, Andrews Pete's the last question mark for the Saints in terms of what they do with restructuring his contract, freeing up even more money. Kaden Ellis, hopefully he's re-signed. But if he's not re-signed, we got DeMarco Jackson, got to teach the position. And maybe we address the position in the draft, or maybe get a young linebacker, a veteran linebacker, like we did last year, to come in to play the position. Man, that guy was perfect. I forgot the man's name. Y'all remember who I'm talking about, the linebacker we picked up from the Minnesota Vikings. And he was tearing it up in preseason and in camp, and then the Saints practice squatted the man. And then several weeks into the season, the Green Bay Packers pilfered him. What's his name? Put it in the chat for me, man. I forgot it. Okay, Lowe say they're feeling great. See, they're feeling pretty good about themselves right now. So the Saints made some moves, man. We got the quarterback that can throw the deep ball, that brings leadership abilities to the black and gold building. And listen, we here in the black and gold building, what we want our offense to do is simply carry its own water. Last year, the defense had to carry the water for the offense, and that wasn't fair. The Saints offense stunk. It was garbage time. It lacked leadership. No excitement. It couldn't consistently move the ball. Despite the fact the defense would give the offense short fields, the Saints still would screw it up. Remember the game? Wasn't that the Tampa Bay game when the Saints got the turnovers against Tampa Bay Buccaneers? The defense got them on a short field, and the Saints offense still screwed it up. We just want our offense to carry its own water. That's what it's about. And Derek Carr does give you leadership. He does give you the deep ball to make things more exciting. So that definitely helps. And we do have the weapons to go and get it. So I think at the very least, the offense should carry its own water. That's a start. So some of these moves are not bad. The Juwan Johnson move to get him there. He's our starting tight end. I absolutely love that, because Derek Carr is going to need a tight end he can rely on. And Juwan Johnson needs to get better. I mean, he's getting better every year. I can't wait to see what he looks like this year. He needs to work on catching that ball a little bit. When the wide open passes, he tend to drop sometimes. He's going to get better. He's gotten better every year. And I expect him to improve this year. Had 7 touchdown catches? I mean, he's phenomenal, man. He's just continue to get better. Passanio is a good veteran guy that can play interior or outside for you. I don't think he should be a starting option for an entire season. Just a guy that if you need him for a short stretch of time, he come in and help you. And JT Gray is a special team ace for us. So it helps out a great deal. So we still got some work to do moving forward in this thing, man. We really do. All right. Was it Quan? No, it wasn't Quan. Yeah, Quan Alexander available too. Q. Hey, how about that? I wasn't even thinking about that. J-Rock says, Q, I think Jameis is on his way to either Denver or Detroit. That'll be interesting. Shout out to Phil. Phil said, thank you for the super chat, Phil, man. Appreciate you. He says, Saints making nice moves. It's just the coach is going to be in your way. Yeah, hey, bro. Talent wasn't really an issue with the Saints, man. We had issues with our offense when Dennis Allen and Jameis Winston fell out. When that happened, then that just, he was the best quarterback on the team. And when they fell out, he shelved Jameis Winston and never let him come back on the field. And that suffered the offense. It suffered the entire team. It suffocated everything. And we weren't able to get any traction, offensively speaking. So it's good to see Carr there. And perhaps let me ask the great Saint Think Tank this, the great Saint Think Tank this. With Carr on this 4-year, $150 million deal, do you guys see the Saints still rotating Taysom Hill in as a quarterback to run the ball? Do you think that Carr would allow the Saints to use Taysom Hill like he used him with Jameis Winston. Now, he did it with Drew Brees because Drew had issues throwing the deep ball. That's why Taysom was present there. Jameis Winston, they did it with Jameis at times when I don't think you really needed to do that, but I don't think under Dennis Allen, the Saints had the same, I know for certain that they didn't have the same confidence in him, but would Derek Carr allow, with all his guaranteed money, he's the leader of offense, you think he shares the offense with Taysom Hill where he goes out he sits on the sideline while Taysom go in there and become a running back? What do y'all think about that? Do you think that play stays or does it go? Y'all put it in the chat. Tell me what y'all think on that. I really want to know what that is. Once again, thank you, Phil. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super chat, bro. All right. Yeah, so look at that. Okay. Oh, Eric Wilson. Thank you, Gregory. Shout out to you, brother Gregory. Eric Wilson. That's I forgot the man. See, if Eric Wilson, man, if we kept Eric Wilson there, that was a huge sign. He was perfect for the Saints. He picked up the defense and was perfect. I don't know why the Saints practice squatted the man. He didn't need any practice. He really didn't. So we kept Zach Bowen and let somebody pilfer him. I would have put Zach Bowen in the street. He ain't hitting on nothing. So I don't know. Eric Wilson might be available now. I don't know. But somebody like that would be special if we do lose a Kaden Ellis. Eric Wilson would be right on time. All right, so here go to family. But Willie says no. Willie Cameron says no. Let's see. Hendy and Newton, shout out, say, I think so. Shout out to y'all. Ken says, yes, Breeze did. Okay, L says, yes, Q. Okay, F1 says, on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, yes. K-Man says, yes. What's up, Colinator? Shout out to you, bro. St. John, what's up, bro? Says, I think we see it, but maybe a bit less. Okay, bro, I can go along with that. All right, DeWine says, yeah, Carr did it with Mariota. Did he? Really? All right, okay. All right, Paper Chasing says, yeah, Big Q, he spoke on it at the introduction. Okay, sharing it with Taysom Hill. Okay. All right, damn it, I didn't want to see that. I was like, man, why not have both of them in there? I thought Taysom could play running back. I want to get rid of because it's so predictable. You know what I'm saying? It's predictable. That's why I want to get. I don't want to have a predictable play. Well, Taysom's in there and everybody run up to the line. But it's hard because to get rid of it, you say that, and then the dude run through 3 arm tackles and then up the field for a touchdown. It don't make no sense. The dude is nowhere for him to run, and he runs into him. He breaks some arm tackles, and he's off to the races. Like there's no rhyme or reason to it. I just want to get rid of the predictable plays. But he be scoring on that madness, man. Everybody in the whole stadium know Taysom is about to get the ball and run it. He's in the shotgun. Why put him in the shotgun, fam? Why put him in the shotgun? Why not just have him under center and then he just run it that way? He gets 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage just to run. I'm like, he don't even look. He don't even go through any progressions. He just hike the ball and just take off run. I'm like, bruh, you can throw the ball at one-on-one. They all in the box. You got one-on-one matchups. Try throwing it. That dude don't understand none of that. God, dog, man, come on. You want it gone, but bro, he be breaking them tackles and running on it. And I'm like, man, it's so predictable, but it be working sometimes. Like, damn. Margie Vian says, Big Q, why we don't just move Taysom to run? I don't understand it, bro. We don't need him to throw the deep ball anymore. We got Derek Carr. We don't need Taysom's deep ball. And besides, Taysom ain't throwing the ball. He ain't throwing the ball. He ain't throwing it. Anyway, I don't know. I just was part of that game. I was hoping it leaves, but it'll be working sometime. I got to be honest, man. Paul says, hey, Q, I'm glad. What's up, Uncle Paulie? He says, David O and Shy Tuttle are gone. They were too fat and slow down in the middle and on the run and past Norman Hand and Sheldon Rankins had played out too. So yeah, the Saints have an opportunity to redo the interior defensive line, man, this year. And it does. Yeah, it be working sometime, right, Phil? It worked. Like, man, it's so predictable. But when that dude run through arm tackles, he run into 2 people and then break the tackle and run for a touchdown. Like, yeah. But it be working, man. It be working sometime, man. So I guess I can't say too much. All right. Yeah, he be throwing them punts, bro. That's for certain. Shout out to your Lattimore. He said, Q, they said Rodgers traded to the Jets. Is that true? Well, I'm looking at it, man. There's a report from Packer Central that's saying one of the insiders is saying that the deal is done, but it's not saying it's officially done. It's saying like it's a done deal. Like, that they basically are in agreement to what each other want, but it's not officially saying that it's done. They're saying that I guess the framework for a deal is done. That would be more accurate to say. Like a framework, according to the insider from Packer Central. And they named him as Trey Wingo. Remember Trey Wingo used to work for ESPN? They saying he's reporting on it that the deal is done. It's not official done, but what I'm seeing it as or interpreting it as is like the framework of a deal is done. You see what I'm saying? The framework of a deal. That's what I'm saying. But officially, no, it's not done yet, bro. Devin said, what's up, Devin? Says, Q, would you take a chance at Calais Campbell for cheap? I would take a chance on Calais Campbell. You know, Slim said today about Frank Carter. I said Frank Clark. I was like, man, yeah, hell yeah, Frank Clark, Calais Campbell. Those guys, man, that'll give a guy like Cam Jordan before he retires. What Cam got 1 year left on his deal. The Saints probably rework his deal, add an extra year on it, a playable year on it, hopefully. And he at least give Cam before he retires, man, a decent compliment to play next to him to take some of the pressure off. Because Cam is constantly double team or triple team. It'll be good to have a guy opposite that can take advantage of a single blocker. Davenport, if you look at the tape, Davenport last year, he didn't do that. He was single block a lot, and he just couldn't get home. And then people will tell me, hey, Q, he had the pressures. But pressures don't translate into sacks, not all the time. Like he might get into a situation where he pressuring it, but you got to get home. We're not paying you for pressures. We paying you to get sacks. Davenport didn't make it home enough for us to justify giving him a fat contract. Somebody gonna break him off. But I'm saying we don't have time for some other guy to figure it out. We got Peyton Turner there, but Peyton Turner's just as hurt as Davenport was. So you see these guys that get hurt, it stalls their development. Passing Yo's not an option there to be a full-time complement or a pass rusher outside of Cam Jordan. He's probably at this stage of his career more effective inside. So we need to get a veteran guy that already knows how to pass rush, who can beat a single blocker, because Cam Jordan on the opposite side always drawing the doubles and sometimes triple teams. This other guy on the other side can benefit from Cam Jordan drawing those, having that issue to the point where they have to pay attention to him. That makes Cam Jordan's job better. So that's all something about the defensive line. When guys look bad, how David Onyemata didn't look good this year. He looked like garbage and crap because guys like Shy Tuttle next to him are not drawing double blockers consistently. So they double blocking and wearing down David Onyemata, and Shy Tuttle's not getting off. Somebody else besides Cam Jordan has to get off. Somebody has to get to the quarterback. And if the other guy is consistently getting home against the other quarterback and causing problems in the backfield, they'll eventually have to make an adjustment in slide protections or whatever they got to do to stop him from having that kind of success. And that ultimately opens up opportunities for other guys. So they play as a unit, but when other guys are not playing the way they're supposed to be playing, and not getting home or not generating the kind of force that you would need them to do, that affects our best guys across the line. That's why I'm advocating for the Saints to go out and see if they can get a good veteran defensive end that knows how to rush the passer, that knows how to just you plug and play guy that gets home, that he'll listen. Your job is you're going to play opposite of Cam. You got to just beat consistently a single block as much as you can. A guy like Frank Clark can do it. Calais Campbell can do it. So whether they go to that philosophy, I don't know. I'm not confident in Tanu Passer. He's a reserve guy to me. Peyton Turner is not available most of the time. I'm not saying that he can't get healthy this year and do his thing, but I just think you should just go after a veteran. Because right now the option, the ideal, the philosophy for the Saints going into this season is to make the playoffs. Playoffs or bust is what it is this year. That's what it is. It's playoffs or bust. And you spend $150 million on a quarterback, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself to win. But the offense should be a lot better than what it was. It couldn't be no worse than what it was last year. So I do appreciate the fact that Carr is here, because I know for one thing, he won't share no garbage, boring offense. He going to get that ball out there. He going to throw it. He got some wheels on him too. He seemed like he reinvigorated. The Saints giving him a tight end in Juwan Johnson, as you see on the screen. Michael Thomas is being restructured, so he'll be back. Chris Olave will be developed even more so in his second year. So with Rashid Shaheed, whatever weapons the Saints bring in through the draft and whoever they sign in free agency. So they kind of setting themselves up to have something strong here based on whether or not the injuries, they be able to fortify themselves against injuries and move the thing in the right. Like I said, I just want the offense to carry its own water and not sit up here and say this is a defensive team. I'm tired of that. The Saints offense needs to get back to the top 15, top 15, top 10, somewhere up in there and carry its own water. Enough of this other crap. As long as we do that, we should win a good handful. We should win more games than what we had done last year. And of course, the big thing is Dennis Allen staying out of the way. When the Saints are doing good, staying out of the way, not saying anything stupid, not doing anything stupid. Just keep it cool. Keep your mouth shut. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Keep your paws off stuff. You run the defense. Let that man over there run the offense and just stay out of the way of the people. Try not to upset nobody and just be cool. The same stuff I said about David Griffin and the Pelicans when he was over there trying to talk it up, all that. And I was set up here for years and said all that stuff. And them people did everything we said. Everything. David Griffin buttoned his mouth, started letting other people work and all that. Everything. Just what it is. Stay out of the way of the team. If he can do that, the Saints should have success. They should. Stay out the way of the team. Stay out of their way. Stay out of their way. You go do what you know what to do, which if you know how to do defense, go run over there and do that defense. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't discipline them. If P. Carmichael screw up, yeah, he should discipline them. But we also know that accountability is not Dennis Allen's strong suit. We know he's not accountable. Can they keep the mistakes down? That's another thing. They didn't do it last year because nobody was calling them out except, in the building was calling them out for all this false start and all this kind of garbage. Could Carr change that? Could Carr come in and say, come on, guys, leadership means something, bro, at the quarterback position? It does. And the guy does have leadership capabilities. Can he call out these guys when they false starting and get on them for it? It won't come from Dennis Allen because that's just what he does. He's not accountable. But can Carr keep him accountable? You see? That's the whole thing. Accountability has to make its way in there some kind of way. It has to, So that's all I got to say about it, fam. We're gonna keep it $1.15 on that. Yeah. All right, Lame, as you know what says Carr isn't an average QB. He's above average. Okay. Yeah, he's above average QB. I get you on that. I agree with you on that. I'll give you that. All right, Brother Mars Javion says, Q, do you think we bring Jarvis back? I don't know, bro. I don't know about the Jarvis thing, man. I would say no to Jarvis. I think, you remember Jarvis only came because of Jameis. Remember when Jameis came, Jarvis said, I wanted to play with Jameis Winston. But Jameis is going to be gone, so I would say no to Jarvis, man. I don't think he comes back. All right, Okapala says, Q, what if Carr struggles or gets hurt? Which QB would step in and keep things going? Well, the Saints will ultimately sign Andy Dalton. Do they draft the quarterback in this draft? Do I have confidence that the Saints will take a quarterback in the top 3 rounds of the draft? This will be, listen, be honest with you, fam. The Saints do have some needs they need to get, they need to take care of. But we could get a really good interior defensive line. But some of this stuff could be taken care of in free agency. Like we get a good edge rusher in free agency. We can sign like we did when we picked up guys, sturdy veterans for cheap costs in free agency last year. You see what I'm saying? Like the linebacker we picked up. I just forgot the damn man name that quick. What's his name, man? Oh, man, goodness gracious. I forgot the man name that quick. Oh, man, what's his name? Cheese Louise. What's the man name? What's the linebacker family? Eric Wilson. I just thought, damn, I got to take my Agnesia. But yeah, Eric Wilson. We find guys like that and bring them in here. And then somebody mentioned Quan Alexander. That's a name from the past that wouldn't be bad. But remember, Quan left because he wanted to get paid. I don't know where he is there now, but that would be interesting. But at the end of the day, some of this stuff we can address in the draft. with the quarterback position, I think really, man, with Carr signing a 4-year deal, I still say the Saints should take a quarterback somewhere in the second and third round, man. They really do. I really do think, and that's because of the fact that anything could happen. Now, listen, I'm not putting anything on Carr. I think Carr is I think he's a good quarterback, right? But at the end of the day, you still have to have somebody, man. You got to have somebody that takes you beyond 4 years. You need a young quarterback that'll be there, and that's something that we need to do. Walk for Jesus International Disciple Revival. Wow, what a name. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Appreciate you. Walk for Jesus International Disciple Revival. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Yes. Quine to the Jets. Okay. He with the Jets. Okay, thank you. But yeah, the issue is like, that's we be looking at. But I'm saying, man, listen, we're not that far off in terms of adding the talent. My thing is the accountability thing. That's what really hurt us offensively speaking. We didn't have the leadership. Carr brings that. He brings the leadership. Now, the accountability comes with leadership. How much? That's the thing. So it has to be in the building some kind of way. As long as Dennis Allen just stays out of the way and just do, that's the big key to me, is Dennis Allen. But I'm not, I think the Carr move was a solid move because it gives us a guy that can push the ball up the field. It's a guy with leadership capabilities. We didn't have none of those things last year, family. We couldn't get the ball up the field. We didn't have no leadership. So, hey, man, we winning right now. Let me tell you something. And like I said, I done broke it down to the bare bones and said, man, I just want them to carry their own water. I don't want to be known as a defensive team first anymore. There's no need for that when you have weapons like Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, Alvin Kamara, Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill. You shouldn't be a defensive first team like we the Baltimore Ravens or somebody. No, our defense ain't that great. They ain't that great. But at the end of the day, man, I just want our units to carry their own water. All right, so with that being said, let me get on out on that. Listen, I appreciate each and every last one of y'all for spending time with me. It's 200 of us in the building. Please feel free, family, if you hadn't already did it. Smash upon the like button. Hit the like button for your boy. Appreciate you guys for dropping in the screen. I see you, 504 Cole, man. He says, man, keep asking Q's questions and we can hold it for another hour. Is that what y'all doing? Is that what the hell we doing? Ask some questions. Keep asking them questions. Keep his answer another hour. Oh, man, that's crazy. Y'all crazy, man. I love y'all, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all are spectacular, man. Oh, big ups to you, Jeffrey, man. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all so much, man. I appreciate y'all. We've been doing this for a long time, fam. The Great Saint Think Tank been here for 8+ years, man. We've been doing it. Been pushing and doing it, man, and keeping it real, man. And I just thank y'all, man. I always tell y'all that we ain't the Coma ain't nothing without the family, man. I always say that, man. And I appreciate y'all for taking the time to listen to me, man. All right, Collinator says one more. I know, Brian. I said the hour will go. All right, fam. I'm going to holler at you. Devin said, always works, Q. So why would we not go away from it? Okay, I got you, bro. I got you. Yeah, JT, all right. I'm not going to hold y'all too long. All right, I got one more from the Collinator, man. All right, shout out to you, Ace Who That 7, man. Well, appreciate y'all, bro. All right, what's up, Damien? Shout out to you, bro. All right, Collinator says, what do you think about the secondary? I think, man, well, let me get the and this will be the last one, then I'll dirk out. All right, I think we need some help in the secondary, bro, from the back. We need some help safety-wise. Like, and I've said this before, we got Tyrann Mathieu. He's in the kind of the last years of his career, the back end of his career. So we're going to need some young safety. If we can get a good young safety to kind of back up. I know we picked up Alontae Taylor, but I expect Alontae to operate from that nickel position. But I do like the fact that, we have Tyron, but he's on the back end. Marcus May is a problem insofar as when I mention Marcus May is an issue because Marcus May, number one, he doesn't play all the games. He missed 6 games last year for the Saints. Number two, he's facing legal issues that's coming. The DUI situation that he drug over from the Jets, he's going to face discipline for that this year. And there is another issue that happened while he was down here on the West Bank. They had some report that was saying that he was brandishing a firearm at a car next to him. Now, allegedly. So that's also something that's working its way through. So he could be facing discipline from 2 different situations. And then, of course, you add the fact that he has issues. Shout out to my brother Hoodie, man. Shout out to you, bro. He says Jameis Winston is back for another season as a backup. Is that official, Hoodie? Is you dropping the signs, bro? Did Jameis agree to come back? If that is the case, man, I would be surprised by that, bro. If Jameis Winston is electing to come back another year, I would be surprised that he would do that. I would be surprised. I don't think they offered them it. I don't think it's official yet. So, but I know you want him to. I know that's your guy, man, but I don't know, bro. I'm going to have to look at that one and say, bro, I think Jameis, when they signed Derek Carr, that was a wrap on Jameis's career here as a Saint. I think the Jameis Winston era then gave way to the Carr era. That's what that'll be my call. But hey, we'll see. But yeah, back to Collinator's question. Yeah, Davenport. The safety position, we can use some help there, bro, for real. Because Evans was a guy we picked up from the Bucks. He did a serviceable job for us last year. He was on a 1-year deal. Daniel Sorensen is old as Moses, so we definitely need an upgrade there. PJ Williams is a cheap backup, but PJ was banged up all year. We didn't get much out of PJ, so that's another reason. As well, JT Gray is a guy that we gave a 3-year deal to just because JT Gray is not much of he ain't a very good safety, bro. I like JT Gray a lot, man, but he need to work on being a safety. He's a hell of a special teams guy, and I think that's why he got that money for special teams. And then, of course, there's Smoke Monday, who's a big safety out there, and it'll be interesting to see what Smoke Monday looks like. But the Saints could use some help in the safety room. They really could, because Marcus May could be an issue. Tyrann Mathieu can miss games next year. What do the Saints do? So we could use some help in the secondary in the form of a safety. I wouldn't be even surprised if Saints take a cornerback either, because we could use some help there. Bradley Roby and Chris Harris. Bradley Roby stinks in my opinion. Chris Harris is a smart veteran, but he's athletically challenged. So, we could use some help back there, and the rest of the other guys are just practice squad players. So, why not? And, reach out, because they'll have some good they have some good safeties that are available as well, that'll be available in rounds 3 and after the fact. Hell, I wouldn't even be surprised if the Saints reached that and grabbed Antonio Johnson. I wouldn't be surprised by that either. Shout out to you, Hoodie. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. With the super check. Okay. Oh, he says, check the messages. All right, hold on here. Let me see what Hoodie sent me, man. Let me see if Hoodie, you sending me some good news about Jameis? Is that what's going on, brother? Hold on. Give me just a second. Let me see what old Hoodie sent me. Hold on here. Hold on to your love. All right, hold on here. All right. Are you kidding, Hoodie? Come on, brother. You pretty good with the graphics. Did you make this one? No, Hoodie dropping science, man. I was about to say Hoodie 9, brother. You done graphically made this, man. You ain't trying to fool me. But no, it's true. Yeah, this is breaking, man. This just happened, family. Thanks to Hoodie let me know, because I'm about to get my ass up off of here. This is facts, man. This is Ian Rappaport. Shout out to my brother Hoodie. He says it's a 1-year deal for Jameis worth up to $8 million, sources said, with no starting opportunities. How about that? Winston sticks with we're familiar. Josina Anderson says that Jameis just texted me that he's finalizing a deal to return to the Saints. So there you go, family. There it is. Jameis, I would say, man, Jameis, why would Jameis? Hey, no starting opportunity. So Jameis is going to remain with the Saints. How about that? That surprises me. I wouldn't think Jameis would took the restructured deal. I figured Jameis would go to Tampa or go to free agency and see what they got. But Jameis wants to stay with the Saints. Wow. You know what this means, family? That means no damn Andy Dalton. So I'm really happy about that. Tuck Graph says, what's going on? What's going on is that this is a report. This just happened. Ian Rappaport is saying Jameis agreed to the restructured contract the Saints gave him. Remember, he had to the 15th to make the decision. Well, he agreed. It's a 1-year deal for $8 million. Ian Rappaport says there's no starting opportunity. Winston sticks with what's familiar, and he's basing off the tweet from Joe. And well, actually, Josina Anderson is then replied to Rappaport's message by saying, Jameis just texted me that he's finalizing a deal to return to the Saints. So, hey, man, I'm really surprised by that, man. I'm surprised by that, fam. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was a surprise because I thought Jameis need to go ahead on. But this is big news right here. This is good news on so many fronts because what this means is they're saying no starting opportunities for Jameis, which means it's Derek Carr's team. Jameis operates as the second string guy, which means that there is no Andy. Well, then again, that don't mean there's no Andy Dalton because Andy Dalton can still take a cheaper contract to play on, but I hope the Saints would then go at a rookie quarterback to go up under Jameis Winston. So, man, I wouldn't have bet Jameis, man. This is a surpriser right here. Shout out to my boy Hoodie for sending this to me. I'm surprised. Y'all surprised by this? Put it in the chat. Let me know, fam. You know, Hoodie just bought some more time up here. Leave it to Hoodie. I'm about to shut the damn stream down, man, and the Hoodie popped up here. All right, so listen, what do y'all think? Let's get some reaction right quick from the fam, man. What y'all think about this, man? How do y'all feel about Jameis coming back? $8 million for 1 year. They come back for the Saints with no starting opportunities. How y'all feel about that? How y'all feel? Let me know, man. Put it in the chat. 504 Cole says, Q, it was no market for him. It was smart move by him. I said it 4 days ago. Okay, thank you, bro. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I thought he would probably leave and maybe, go talk to a few people, maybe have opportunity. Maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe he's like, hey, man, y'all got a job for me? You could be right, bro. He probably went out there and talked to a few people or reached out or try to imply to back areas so he don't get in trouble. Hey, man, if I had did this, would there be a spot? Nobody like, you know what, bro? No. And then James like, you know what, man? I'll take that $8 million sitting on my ass. How about that? So, hey, man, how about that, family? So your backup is Jameis behind Carr. Didn't think that was going to happen. I'm going to be honest with you, man. All right. Oh, J-Rock says, I'm shocked. I'm surprised by this, too. I thought Jameis was gone, bro, to be honest with you. Yeah, I know my dog says, I'm shocked they disrespected the man, though. Yeah, but Jameis said, you know what? I'm going to sit on my ass and take this $8 million from you. Hey, if you think about it. Yeah, great news, 504 says, for us, I'm really happy about this. Not surprised, QK Hype. Okay, Big Sean says, shocked with 1,000 watts. Yeah, I'm shocked by this too, bro. I thought Jameis was going to leave for greener pastures. I guess no greener pasture for Jameis to sit as a backup and collect $8 million. Ain't a bad look. Indian News said, I feel sad for Jameis. I want him to win, but it's sad no one wants him. Damn. Brandon says Jameis told his rehab trainer he was staying. Okay. Big Head Slim said, that's crazy, bro. I like it, though. I know. King of South Cobb says, maybe good for morale. The teammates love him. Great locker room guy. Brother Eric says, I'm not Q. He was willing to negotiate, and he has love for the city. Yeah. Yeah. City got love for him. It was just how the Saints disrespected him. But I guess. Collinator said, pay me $8 million to hold a clipboard and run the scout team. I know, bro. Sitting on your ass taking $8 million ain't bad, right? JT says, no more Andy Dalton and no more Steve Young. Brandon says, I didn't believe it. Yeah, this is Rappaport dropping it, fam. This is breaking. This just happened, man. All right, James says his market really wouldn't be as good as it would like it to be, and his best option, both lucrative and possibly planned, would be to stay with New Orleans. I'm glad he did it. I like Jameis. Still draft QB. Okay. What's up, Kim? Said, I'm not surprised. I think Jameis is hurt more than we think. I think smart move, sit back, totally heal. Okay, good. Yeah, will he ever be the same? I would sit and hold clipboard and make money. There's a possibility that if injury occurs, could thrust Jameis into a starting capacity. So, I mean, it does give us a guy that knows the system to a degree. I wasn't not anticipating Jameis Winston taking a restructured deal to stay with the Saints. I'm a bit surprised by that, family. Cool Man says, I really like this. I think he has something to prove, and plus this proves they don't think of him the way many thought, because he would be gone if he was trash, like Willie would say. DJ Hellcat said, I'm happy for us keeping him, but I think Winston deserves better. Okay. Who That Daddy says, I'm surprised, Q. I just hope that they haven't messed with the man's confidence. Lame as you know what says Winston need to go to Washington. My dog says, bruh, we got Carr and Winston. This is crazy, but dope. Yeah, I know, bro. I'm not gonna tell you no different, bro. I'm not gonna sit up here and say, hey, man, I knew this all. No. I thought Jameis was gone, man. The Saints, how they handled him and basically gave him an ultimatum. Like, man, listen, you either take this money or go. James said, I'll take it for $8 million and sit on my ass behind Carr, no pressure. You know, and as a backup, I can find some opportunities to make that work. And good point by Kim, too, dropping some science on it. Molly says, Jameis made a good decision. Learn more and come back healthy. His market will be better the following year. Also, he loves the Big Easy. Thank you, Molly. Nola Barr says, Jameis said the backup is really the smarter in Dennis Allen's system. Okay, if Derek Carr catches a cold, Jameis is the man. All right, Luke says, pay me $8 million and you can disrespect the you know what out of me. Call me Sally if you I don't give a Terrace says Winston should have been the starter until Carr arrived. Tuckgraphs, what's up, Tuckgraphs? Says maybe the animosity wasn't as great as suggested. Yeah, they were kidding around at first, so yeah. They could have just told him straight up, you know, come to think about it, like, why, if we really didn't want you, why say we're going to restructure you? All right, shout out to Fa Jew. For hitting the subscribe button. Thank you, Fa Jew, for hitting the subscribe. What's up with that? All right. Okay. Thank you. Mr. F, for hitting the subscribe button, man. Appreciate you. And okay. All right. All right. Very interesting tag you got there, my friend. All right. So anyway, this J Rock says this officially means the Saints will not be drafting a QB in the draft. Tyler says, yo, what's up, Big Q? Day one free agency already popping. Hashtag keep pounding. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Tyler. Shout out to one of our Carolina Panthers family members. Luke says, real talk, why publicly announce he's not a starter? We ain't even at camp yet. The whole idea of coaching is promoting competition. Every spot should be open competition every year. I think that $150 million, to be honest with you, it's kind of making sure that he's the man. I think that was part of the negotiating process. Like, listen, I ain't competing for nothing, man. This is my job, you understand? Yes, sir, just sign the contract. It's one of those type of deals, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. Ramsey, what's up, Ramsey? Says Carr, Jameis, and 1 hour of Big Q. Win. Yeah, bro, I was supposed to peek out of here a while ago, man. But good thing I stayed on, man. I popped that because I'd probably had to pop back. Say, hold on, fam. I got off too soon, man. The Jameis Winston news is hitting. Yeah, this is big, man. Jameis is back with the team. Family is on the screen. Ian Rappaport is tweeting that it's a 1-year deal for Jameis worth up to $8 million. Sources said with no starting opportunities. No starting. Winston sticks with what's familiar, and then Josina then replied to Ian Rappaport's tweet by saying, QB Jameis Winston just text her and said he's finalizing a deal to go back to the Saints or return to the Saints, which makes it official. So there you go. And that's your sources right here. Eric says maybe Jameis and Dennis might have to come to a compromise. Okay. Okay. No cap, no filter says MT been trying to ship my son JW out of town for 2 years now. He did tweet that thank God or something like that he tweeted. You know, when Carr was signed. James says, I think we should still draft a young QB with our first pick, Q. You think DA's still gonna make that our first move? I don't think so, bro. He sounds like he all in on Carr. I think that's a mistake. Panthers and Falcons not playing. I know, I see that. No, I don't see nothing wrong with the Carr acquisition. Then you get Jameis there. Jameis will, you know, if something happened to Derek Carr, if he gets hurt or something like that, because this is the NFL, you know, that gives you a good backup here. And I would still want to take a quarterback because this would be the right situation to take a quarterback, right? You got Carr to start off his deal with the Saints, the first year of a 4-year deal. You draft the guy, right? Maybe not in the first round. I would say maybe in the second or third round. I would pinpoint Hendon Hooker, to be honest with you. This kind of fall in line with what Cam Jordan had tweeted out, right? Sign Derek Carr, draft Hendon Hooker, stuff like this. But I think Hendon Hooker should be the guy the Saints target. And really, he's coming off an injury, so you allowed him time to heal. Not only that, but you allow him to learn under Jameis and learn under Derek Carr. And you never know, even if it's a 4-year deal, this is the NFL. Injuries happen. So I would rather have him there than not have him at all. You see what I'm saying? Because eventually it'll come a time when Carr, because when this deal is over, he'd be in his mid-30s. Jameis would be gone off the team. Somebody else here, and you would like to have a young quarterback here to kind of move forward. Now, we have our sights set on Hendon Hooker. It might not be Hendon Hooker. It might be somebody else that the Saints fancy, even though we and there's a lot of traction and they've been communicating with him and figuring everything out. But I don't think Hendon Hooker goes to the third round. I'd be surprised if you can get him in the third. I think he'll be going somewhere in the second round. That's just what I'm thinking, because really without the injury, the guy was a top 5 quarterback up there. If he was healthy, you wouldn't be talking about Anthony Richardson as much as that, because Hendon Hooker is up there. He got the size, the accuracy, the intelligence, stuff like that. He's a fine in the second round. I don't know if the Saints, I think they'll end up getting a quarterback. I don't know if it'll be Hooker. Everybody got their hearts on Hooker, but there's a lot of other quarterbacks out there, like Max Duggan from TCU. He's another good quarterback. We talked about it on the draft prospect show. So some of the family members that's in the building, if you missed the draft prospect show we just did, go and check that out. It's an hour and something of really good commentary. Me and my brother KT, the resident Great Saint Think Tank Scout, was in the building. We were talking about everything. We covered everything from quarterbacks to defensive backs. It was a good show, man. It gave kind of sprinkled some game. I learned about a lot of prospects that I didn't know about. KT was bringing out some wild cards and dropping them. Oh, man, I was like, yeah, and I went, go check this one out, Q. Go look at this one, Q. Go check this one out. And I'm like my head spinning around looking. I'm looking at all that, man. I'm like, man, hey, man, they got some good players out there, man. So, yeah, we all right, man. So, yeah, this is really, I'm happy about this. I like this, man. I really do. This makes me feel better. It does. So it's like, and for the family members that are pro Jameis but anti Carr, they love this move, because what the Saints did was they appeased both sides. They knew it was a split, and really credit to the Saints on how they decided to handle this, because what ended up happening was the Saints could have pulled away and say, you know what, man, listen, Jameis, we're going to let you know we're going to be releasing you on March the 15th. We're going to designate you a post-June 1st cut. Okay? All right, thank you for your services. Saints ain't do that. I got to keep it a buck. The Saints said to Jameis, listen, Jameis, it's a restructured deal. This is what we can do right here because we got Carr. But if you want to stay with the team, this is a contract. You agree to it, you're on the team. If not, then we're going to have to release you. Saints did that. Jameis thought about it. You know what? I'll take that $8 million. And came back. So that makes both sides happy. Listen, this is because it was a split in the Who Dat Nation, but behind our pro Jameis people and our pro Derek Carr people. What this does is bring them both together. Very smart move by the Saints. I got to give them credit on this one. This is a really smart move by the Saints and a smart move by Jameis to agree to the contract, even though I thought he would have greener pastures elsewhere. But like some of the fans, like Molly was saying, that he can go back in there next year because it does give us a guy that knows the system. And this is a very smart move by both Jameis and the Saints to agree to come back together with Jameis underneath Carr for a year. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant that they pulled this off. Because like I said, listen, they be talking to me. I be getting all of the messages and everything queued out. Listen, what this does is it brings everybody back together because it was a split. It was a split. I'm telling y'all, it was a split from people telling me because hey, either you over here or you over on this side. And very few people was in the middle. I was saying, listen, I'm in the middle here. Very few people was in the middle. You was either over here or you was over here. But this brings everybody together because you got Carr and then you have Jameis. This was a very intelligent move by both parties, man. Very intelligent. Got to give him a shout out for that, man. This is a good one. This is a smart move by Jameis and the Saints to agree to come back together, despite the greener. But maybe there wasn't greener pastures. But sitting on your ass and collecting $8 million, man, listen. Not bad, man. This does make me happy, family. This makes me happy because now I don't have to worry about people complaining to me and telling me, man, Q, this sucks. Derek Carr is trash. He trash. And I'm like, no, he's not trash, bro. Man, he messed up on Jameis. Well, now I don't have to hear that anymore. Win-win. I don't have to hear none of that no more. So that's a win for Big Q. Let me tell you something. J-Rock said this officially means the Saints will not be drafting the QB. We'll see, bro. All right, y'all know what I'm saying, bro? I've been catching hell over here. Y'all don't understand, man. People been why they did this, why they did that. Oh, the sports coma, bro. Big Q, just put the sports coma in Twitter. It'll pull me up, bro. All right, Christopher says Jameis Winston is staying to be the backup. Yes, he is. For $8 million. Don't forget to put $8 million in there. Don't forget to put $8 million in there now. Don't forget he's staying to be the backup for $8 million. So that's cool. Kelvin says the way these crab legs taste this time of the season, I knew you wasn't going anywhere. Tara says, what's the flippity flip? I know, fam. Hemisphere, what's up, man? So if I was Winston, I wouldn't speak my mind frustrations with the media. I would do what is asked of me. Take the money to better myself next year. He's following your advice to the T. Hemisphere. Lame says, Ramcheck spot is open. Get some spots. Be locked like that. Hoodie, shout out to you, bro. Says, Kaden Ellis to Falcons. Davenport is to the Vikings. All right. Thank you, Hoodie. So you mean to hold on here. Hold on, man. All this stuff is happening right now. So you know what that means, family? I don't know I don't know about that, Hoodie. I'm gonna have to look up the Kaden Ellis situation. Because if that wasn't true, that mean my boy Lowe was flim-flamming me. He said they ain't looking at him. So I'm gonna have to but see, I was saying the Kaden Ellis thing because listen, it's Ryan Nielsen. He knows who Kaden Ellis is, man, and they got the money, man. So I don't know if it's official yet, bro, but I guess let me put it in the box, man, to see what's shaking. Y'all give me a second. Let me do a little research here. Because a lot of this started popping and snapping on Twitter. Hold on, fam. Give me just a second here. Hold on just a second. Yeah. I don't see nothing on that. I think Hoodie just saying about them going there. Low platers. I just talked to Lo about that, man. I just mentioned it to him, bro. Lo's I didn't really want to say it because I was like, man, it makes too much sense for the Saints for the Falcons not to look at a guy like Kaden Ellis. They got all the money in the world, man. Yeah, now it's starting to break about Jameis Winston. Yep, and this is Dove Kleiman is reporting that the Vikings are signing former defensive end Marcus Davenport. Which, how about that? Because what that pretty much does is that it's Ian Rappaport again, man. Hold on, let me put this one on screen, fam. It's Ian Rappaport reporting all this, bro. There it is right there. The Falcons pilfering is another move here. The Falcons are pilfering. Yeah, see, we just talked about it. Lo came up here and told me they wasn't interested. Lo sit up here and lied to me, man. Yeah, see that? See that, fam? See, you can't trust them damn Falcons, man. I'm Lo, we asked the fam, and I said, Lo, hold on, bro. Hold on, Lo. Y'all looking at Kaden Ellis? No, we're not looking at Kaden Ellis, Q. And now look up in here. Look at this. Ian Rappaport reporting that the Falcons make another big move on defense as former Saints linebacker Kaden Ellis is headed to Atlanta. Sources say 7 sacks, 78 tackles, and 11 starts to become a hot free agent. He's shining an opportunity now to cash in. So the Atlanta Falcons picking us clean. And then there's a report about Davenport, too, that he's headed to the Minnesota Vikings because if you look at the Vikings, and remember, man, so they went and pretty much what they did was they got Danielle Hunter. And then now Davenport was seen as a Danielle Hunter type. So how about that, man? So I'm not mad about Davenport going nowhere. I'm going to be honest with you, man. He get the hell out of here, man. Yeah, so, yeah, it's official, man. This is Ian Rappaport's dropping all of the signs, bro. It's all Ian Rappaport. They're just making it off of him. Let me put it up here. Here it is right here. This is Davenport gone, family. Vikings are signing pass rusher Marcus Davenport. Sources tell me from Mike Garofalo and Tom Pelissero, he gets a 1-year deal worth $13 million. And of course, and this move just happened 8 minutes ago. So you look at Rappaport saying that Falcons also move on Kaden Ellis. There it is. Yeah, so Davenport, we knew Davenport was gone. And now you got Atlanta taking Shy Tuttle and Kaden Ellis in the same damn day on your defense. So the Saints will have to find a linebacker. Well, there's DeMarco Jackson there that we picked up last year. We'll see how he looks. And, of course, the Saints could also look in the draft. How about Dorian from Tulane? I mean, I'll be looking at him. So, yeah. Mars Javion says, BQ, now watch he stay healthy and be a Pro Bowl. Well, I don't know. Danielle Hunter couldn't stay healthy up there. And basically, that's what Davenport is Danielle Hunter. He's been compared to him since he came into the league. When they first picked him up, they were like, man, Davenport could be like what Danielle Hunter was. So maybe that's what Minnesota's shooting at. So they get Davenport up there. Maybe a change. Sometimes these guys need a change of scenery, family, but there you go. This is the new stuff right here. Yeah, I know that. I see it, Darrell. It's up there. It's up there, as you can see. Falcons pilfered them. So yeah, we've lost a couple of people, man. I was hoping that we were able to secure the services of one Kaden Ellis. They're not telling us exactly what the contract is, but I'm pretty sure it'd probably be a pretty decent contract. So yeah, they filling their defense. No cap, no filter says Bates, Ellis, and David O next to Jared. Falcons D about to be good. Ryan know what he's doing. Hashtag Saints. Yes, indeed, bro. Pilfer from the Saints. And don't be surprised if you see Sean Payton start doing some stuff too, based on what it is. So yeah, the boy Atlanta, man. Boy Atlanta is just no. Yeah, $13 million for Davenport, man. $13 million, but that's right around what they were pretty accurate with that. A lot of people like, man, Cuba. And I remember asking in the show, family, what you gonna pay for him? Would you give up any? And people say I ain't giving up nothing north of $10 million or $8. What was it? Between $8 to $10 million for Davenport. He got 13 for 1 year. A prove-it deal. Well, I ain't gonna say it. Is it a prove-it deal? But, you know, he agreed to go there for $13 million out of 1 year for Davenport, man. Yes. Yes. So there you go. Ryan says, we really needed Ellis to rotate, especially with Werner being injured and DeMario about to retire soon. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 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 James says, Q, all these solid pieces we have leaving is not a good sign, bro. I know part of the reason is the cap, but it also tells me that they're not buying into DA and they don't like his moves thus far. Well, I mean, I guess you can interpret it like that, Brother James, but it could also mean that the Saints players who are free agents love Ryan Nielsen, love Ryan Nielsen's style of defense. They love Ryan Nielsen as a coach, and that Ryan Nielsen is basically telling them that, hey, listen, you come here, you're going to be a starter. And you basically, it's like you go into a situation like you at one company and they paying you this amount. And then it's like you go into their rival company for, double the pay or even triple the pay in certain circumstances for doing the same or similar job. You might have more responsibilities, but I guarantee you this contract for Kaden Ellis is going to be a pretty nice, I ain't going to say a big expensive contract, but it's going to be something where the Saints most certainly wouldn't, be agreeing to do with him as a third linebacker. He's going to be a starter there in Atlanta's defense. So it's greener pastures and more opportunities for him in Atlanta with a coach that he's familiar with, as opposed to staying here with the Saints, well, a coach he's not familiar with. Remember Dennis Allen, this is all Dennis Allen's defensive staff that he's added, new defensive line coach and all these other guys. He still has the same coach in Mike Hodges here, but, there's a few changes. But you're going to Ryan Nielsen, a guy that you're familiar with, for more money and more of an opportunity to start. The Saints can only offer you a starting position this year based on injuries to either Pete Werner or Demario Davis. So the Saints did draft DeMarco Jackson. He was hurt all last year. The thing is, what does DeMarco Jackson look like in his second year? Can he step up to the plate? And based on what we've seen from him, and when we scouted him, he looks like he has the potential to be something nice. But still in all, the Saints could go into the draft and address this situation too. They really could. Or perhaps, so like I said, they have some ways that they can address this, even by getting a veteran linebacker, that could come in and kind of steady the ship. That's not as old as a Demario Davis. Like we talked about guys like, Eric Wilson or does Quan Alexander come back here to the Saints, or the Saints simply have a player in that ilk, or do they draft the guy? You see? So, I mean, they can go a number of ways with it, but the Kaden Ellis thing kind of hurt because you knew at some point Pete Werner was going to get hurt because like I say, he plays harder than his body would allow him to play. He has to find a balance somewhere in there where he don't, he's a smart player, but boy, his body can't play. It can't stay healthy with his physical style of play. You got to find a balance there. All right. Yeah, Bobby Wagner's going to cost some money, bro. Jarrell's asking about Bobby Wagner, man. All right. Shout out to Ioane. All right. So, yeah, this is interesting, man. These news just keep breaking. Yeah, James says, I'm with you on that too, Q. All that makes too much sense, but Kaden and Onyemata could have gotten kept for not much, I think. I don't think the Saints was going to pay David Onyemata that kind of money, bro. And they knew it, $25 million guaranteed for David Onyemata. I don't think the Saints was going to pay him that kind of money. I just didn't see. I don't think they were. And Kaden Ellis, the Falcons, we don't know what the contract is. Let me see if I can see if they got some more information on the numbers on the deal. Let me see. For that contract. Y'all give me a second. Let me look some of this stuff up. Very interesting, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call Lo and say, Lo, bro, you done lied to me. Why you lied to me, Lo? Why you lied to me, man? Y'all said y'all wasn't looking at Kaden Ellis. Oh, man. They just keep on taking our people, fam. Yeah. It's intentional at this point. It's intentional. All right. So, yeah, there's no money right now on what they're saying about But they're probably going to end up releasing that sooner or later. We're going to find out what the money was. I want to know what the contract was behind that. But anyway, this is what it is right now, family, is that Vikings get Davenport on a 1-year deal worth $13 million. No contract information yet on what Kaden Ellis got from the Falcons. Only thing I know, the Falcons is biting hard like a dog right now, man. They biting hard like a dog. Let me hit Ian Rappaport's Twitter up right quick to see what he looking like here. Okay, here it is, fam. Here go the money right here. And this is the deal. He just tweeted it a minute ago, the contract for Kaden Ellis from the Falcons. 3 years at $21.5 million, $11 million guaranteed. No way the Saints was going to pay that man that. So here go the money. This is the contract for what the Falcons offered Kaden Ellis. It's a 3-year deal worth $21.5 million with $11 million guaranteed for Kaden Ellis. There it is. No way we would have offered that kind of money for Kaden Ellis, family. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's crazy, man. $21.5 million with $11 million guaranteed for Kaden Ellis to go to Atlanta. Yes, 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 family. Yes. There you go. I don't think the Saints would have matched that, family. I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I don't think that would have happened. I don't think they was matching that. Tyler, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. All right. Yeah, I don't, man. Yeah, they're just stealing all the people. They got David Onyemata and Kaden Ellis in the same day, man. Same damn day. Yeah, how about Atlanta, man? They just, they just gonna keep stealing your people. All right, so anyway, that's some of the moves that's happening right here, family. Marcus Davenport is going to he agreed to a deal with the Vikings. 1 year, $13 million for him. And Kaden Ellis takes a 3-year deal to Atlanta to join Ryan Nielsen at $21.5 million with $11 million guaranteed. How about that? Shout out to Kaden Ellis, man. Not for being a Falcon, but being a 7th round draft pick and making it into a lucrative contract. How about that, man? I just got all the respect in the world for successful people, man. The man was a 7th round draft pick. 7th round draft pick that stuck in there, hung in there, showed up and got the bread. All right, Notorious B.I.G. says, Saints better be on them phone lines tomorrow for breakfast until bedtime. Indeed. All right. James says, Q, I think we the only team in the league with no defensive They got Malcolm Roach and a few other people, but yeah, the Saints got to make some moves, man, and get some stuff. Shout out to Crusher, man. What's up, my brother? How you doing? All right, Jay Gunn says they're going that far up, one up us. Yeah, that's real petty what the Falcons are doing right now, man. Real petty, man. Eric says Mickey has spit out his apple cider after hearing that contract, Q. Yeah, there's no way the Saints would have given Kaden Ellis a 3-year deal at $21.5 million with $11 million guaranteed. Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. St. John says, yeah, that's just pain. It was pain everywhere, James. Oh, yeah, yes. It was pain everywhere. That's what we feeling right now, a little pain. Tyler says, Falcons got all that money and don't know what to do with it. Yeah, they know what to do with it. They come over here and shop at the Saints store. That's what they do. WB3, what's up, Willie? Says, whatever happened to the Saints he says, that goodie for them, the way they are parading their work all around is real disrespectful to me. Like he won something. All right. Man, all I can tell you, bro, is that the Falcons are trying to do something, man, and they were shopping at the Saints market, to do it. And right now, the Saints only doing it. The Saints are reworking the money. The biggest news for today outside of the restructurings is the fact that Jameis Winston decided, for the family members that don't know, that Jameis Winston is deciding to stay with the Saints and take the restructured deal the Saints offered them several days ago. It's a 1-year contract, restructured the 1 year. Well, he was already in the contract for 1 year, but it's restructured at $8 million for this year with no starting opportunities, which means it's Derek Carr's team. Jameis is taking the contract. He's going to take it and stay with the Saints this year. So you'll have Carr and Jameis under the same building in the black gold. That is, to me, that was a smart move if you think about it from both sides, because it was a split, man. It was a split for real, fam. It was a split. I had people that weren't crazy about Carr and people that loved Jameis, and it was a split. Now with this happening, everybody back together, and we a team again, and that just creates, it's a better vibe now. This move feel good spiritually for the team to see them coming back, because I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought Jameis would go somewhere else. It surprised me to see that this happened, man. It really did. So, and he's also reporting just on other news that the Texans are expected to sign the former 49er defensive back Jimmy Ward. So he following DeMeco Ryans, I guess, over there, you know. And once again, the Jameis story. Zach Allen from the Broncos, a 3-year deal. So Sean Payton getting the defensive end Zach Allen on a 3-year deal, $45.75 million with $32.5 million guaranteed. Can't be real money, man. He also reporting that the Vikings signing linebacker Eric Kendricks to the team. So this is Ian Rappaport. You also talk about Pat Peterson signing a 2-year deal with the Steelers. So these are a few moves right here. And him talking about Jimmy Garoppolo signing with the Raiders. So this is to a 3-year deal. So the Raiders get Jimmy Garoppolo for 3 years. 3 years. Damn, at $72.75 million with $34 million guaranteed. How did the Raider Nation feel about Jimmy Garoppolo being a quarterback? How the Raider Nation, y'all need to chime in and let me know something. The Panthers made a move. They signed center Bradley Bozeman, locking him in for long term. He gets a 3-year deal at $18 million. Came to Carolina on a 1-year deal. Now he's there. And they're keeping all 5 of their starters in Carolina. So I know when we see PNP, they're going to be bragging about that. So they're going to really be feeling themselves, man, come Wednesday. All right. There's another one here. The Giants making some moves here. Getting a linebacker. Raiders also signed Epps to a 2-year deal. So, I mean, there's some movements being happened here, family, as well in the game. So a lot to be said here, man, for what's going on with the rest of the NFL. But the big news of the day, to keep it $1.15 with you, is the fact that both the Saints, Davenport's going 1 year to the Vikings for $13 million. Linebacker Kaden Ellis is headed to Atlanta, 3 years for a 3-year deal, man. That's pretty interesting, man, to be honest with you. 3 years, $21.5 million, $11 million guaranteed. Ain't no way we was going to match that, man. Ryan says Jimmy G is a good signing. He's half the price of Carr. WB says Winston has to feel defeated right now. He's clearly trying to get a paycheck. I wouldn't have signed back with the team for $8 million, Willie. $8 million just to hold a clipboard. Big Sean said all this stuff makes us have to pick up our poison in the draft because we only have so many picks and need O linemen and now D linemen. I think it's a mixture of both, bro. We can still appease both needs in free agency and the draft. JC504 says, Q, would you go to B2B defensive tackles with the first 2 picks back to back? Get Cansey, and if someone like Ika is still on the board, do you snag him as well? Get you real nose tackle help to run and 3 tech for the pass. And you know what? Back-to-back defensive tackles in the draft, I don't know if I would go back-to-back DTs in the draft. You know, I don't know if I want 2 rookies, like 2 rookie interior defensive linemen playing for me if I got playoff aspirations. You know, the way I would prefer to do it, I'm not saying it's not possible, Jay, JC, I'm just saying that I would prefer to have a veteran in one spot and a rookie in another. Like, I have a DT be my veteran guy, and then the nose tackle be like maybe Mozzie Smith or the Dancing Bear Ika from Baylor. I would rather do it like that. Have a veteran there and then a young guy there, and then maybe on in the draft get another defensive tackle, because you need depth too, because you only got Malcolm Roach and a few other guys. So the Saints are going to have to focus on getting some guys. I'm pretty sure they're going to get other defensive tackles in the undrafted ranks. Like we found guys like Shai Tuttle, Malcolm Roach. That's what the Saints do. They're good at finding in the undrafted ranks interior defensive linemen and running backs and wide receivers. They do that really well. So I can see them doing the undrafted ranks of some of this, but I would prefer not to have two rookies there interiorly. I would like to have a vet and a rookie next to him. And then I still want to see what we can do about the defensive end position. But will the Saints just say we're going to start Peyton Turner and rotate passing over there with him? Or you see what I'm saying? I would want more of a veteran approach for the defensive end. But for the interior position, I wouldn't do two rookies next to each other. I would try to avoid that if possible. He says, that would be my way of doing it, bro. But I'm not mad at the picks right there when you talk about Kansas and Ika. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I wouldn't want to do both of those guys. I would rather have a veteran and a rookie. Thanks for your question, bro. All right. Also, I think Jimmy G was a nice move. Okay. All right. Okay. A lot of people feeling that, man. All right. Okay. They feeling good. Also said Jimmy G has Josh Jacobs now. Yeah, McCoy's still with us, Marty. Shout out to Marty. Yeah, he's still with us. Crusher says, have you ever looked at the linebacker overshadowed? Overshoobed? Oh, linebacker overshoot. No, I'm not familiar with him, Crusher. Christopher says, Desmond Ridder still sucks. Atlanta going to suck anyway. They're not going anywhere. Ultimate Streams. Shout out to you, fam. Says, Q, man, we got big holes to fix. They got a few things to take care of them. Overshown from Texas. Now I'm gonna look them up, Crush. I'm gonna look them up, bro. I'm gonna look them up. All right. Thank you for putting them out. Usually people tell me, Q, look up this person. I go and look them up the majority of the time, but I be getting overwhelmed because KT be sending me people, Kevin be sending me people. People just be sending me people, and I be like, damn, I be trying to do as much research as I can while I'm doing other stuff. All right. Jay Gunn says, maybe Winston has a better relationship with DA than I thought. Could be, bro. NFC's wide open. All right, so David says, DeMarco Jackson better be the truth because Warner not playing all 17. I agree. Love to see what DeMarco Jackson could do, but we still going to need to find somebody, to kind of whether it's a rookie or not. Ryan says, Austin Eckler, as soon as possible. Dude fits in perfectly when AK is suspended. He leads the league in TDs the last 2 seasons. He's a sure thing and worth it. He's a little undersized, though, isn't he, bro? Austin Eckler. He can ball, though, bro. I ain't going to lie to you. Tyler says, Big Q. Look at Jimmy. Look at WB3. Willie says, Jimmy G's horrible. He trash. Supposed to say trash, Willie. Tyler says, Big Q, how is Shai Tuttle only watched him play? He says, how is Shai Tuttle only watched him play us for the Panthers? He went crazy against us week 18, stopping the run, but he playing the edge since we running a 3-4 defense next season. Is that what the focus is, Tyler? They seeing him as an edge, as a defensive end. That's what they're trying to do with him. That's weird. Well, we'll see how it works, man. But listen, he's a big athletic guy, man. If you one of my favorite plays from Shai Tuttle is like, remember when we were playing Atlanta, family, and Matty Icy Hot tried to throw the ball, and he deflected the ball to himself, then began running up the left sideline, and then he stiff-armed Matty Icy Hot to the ground and ran in for the touchdown. That was my favorite Shai Tuttle play. So he's a big athletic guy. He can move, man. And when you give him this money, I got to think that he probably will try to improve some with the team. So I was surprised that Shai Tuttle got that kind of money, but he ain't a bad player. But he's a big athletic guy, man. So they might be able to get a little bit more out of him than what we got. All right, Jimmy says, Q move the Raiders made the move the Raiders made with Jimmy is the same move I wanted the Saints to make. He would have helped our cap and is better than Carr, in my opinion. I said this weeks ago, Raiders confirmed it Big Q. I don't know if he's better than Carr, bro. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna say I do, bro. I'm just gonna say I don't know. I don't know if Jimmy G's better than Carr, statistically speaking, for the same. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more research on the comparison. I think Jimmy G might have won more games than Carr. I probably would say his win-loss record might be better. But when you talk about better, what do you mean? Like a better overall QB than Carr? Because Carr is not. A lot of people start looking at the statistics on Carr, and you'll be surprised, man, when you start looking at his his statistics and compare them to other guys. His statistics and his passing percentage, the numbers don't lie, man. Not all the time, but they can be deceiving. But man, I don't know if to say he's better than them. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more research on it. Okay, Ryan says Jimmy G has close to a 750 record. Can't knock that. Yeah, see, I didn't even see that commentary. Kai says, I'm shocked Jameis decided to stay with the Saints. He would have been better off going somewhere else. But much respect to him. Hashtag we like that. All right, thank you, Kai. Shout out to you. All right, Pam, it says, what's up, Pam? It says, we complain all year about the defensive line not getting to the QB. We can't have it both ways. That's right. The defense, well, the interior defensive line last year gave up 120-something rushing yards per game, some games overall, just really weird, terrible. That kept a lot of the teams in it because we couldn't get off the field because the Saints couldn't, stop the run. People would just run all over the Saints. Now we got the two starting defensive tackles that was responsible for this dysfunction are gone. Now we have a blank slate to work from. Now we can build the interior of the defensive line the way we want to. Because I know the Saints were interested in keeping David Onyemata back. It just didn't go the way we anticipated it going. So, it's kind of strange how it went, but I'm very excited about it, to be honest with you. It gives us a clean slate to operate from. Brother Kenneth says, with the Raiders signing Jimmy G, a QB falls to Atlanta in the draft. Okay, you think Atlanta takes a quarterback in the draft? After taking Desmond Ridder, they took him in the third round? You still think they taking a quarterback? All right, Luke says Eckler demanded a trade. Yeah, not going to be easy without Herbert. Okay, Ryan says he's no smaller than AK. I think he might be bigger. Okay, all right. I thought he was smaller than AK. Okay, I'm going to have to look it up. Tony says we lost Marcus and Kaden. Yes, we did, sir. Marty says, who's going to take the place for AK while he's serving time? I don't know if that guy's on the team, bro. That answer is yet to be answered yet because we still have to go through free agency and the draft, and I think probably the answer might be in the draft. KT, shout out to you, bro. Says Q, check Carl Brooks, the defensive tackle, 6'4", 311 pounds from Bowling Green. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at him. KT dropping some jewels, man. Terra66 says Davenport from Bowling Green. Okay, I'm going to look him up, KT. Davenport is Viking. Kaden Ellis is a Falcon. Yes, indeed. Big Sean said, we losing everybody. NFL operated. There's an the Saints shopping at the Dollar Tree, so Eckler is out of the question. Okay, I don't know if they're shopping at the Dollar Tree, bro. The Saints can wheel and deal on some deals. You know how they do. Saints to give that cheap one, that first year cheap, and then pile on the big money and escalating contract in 2-3 years. You know how they do. So with that philosophy, they can get as active as anybody. They can sign a few people on the team if they wanted them. You know what I'm saying? With that mentality, they're always dangerous to jump in there if they approaching it with that perspective. Big Smoke says the Raiders aren't going anywhere. They'll finish last in the division. Demetrius says definitely not better than Carr when it comes to stats. Okay. Jesse says, what's up, Jesse? Says, what up, Q? Who that family? I would draft a defensive tackle in the first round, draft Ojulari, LSU in the second round, move Turner inside with Passanio, sign Street, draft, and it says get an undrafted defensive tackle. Remember, we still have Zach Bowen. He is a rusher, not a linebacker. I don't know if Zach Bowen is still on the team. I think this was Zach Bowen's last year, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it his last? So Bowen might not be on the team. I don't think Zach Bowen, I think this was his last year. And good riddance to him, but I agree that the Saints will ultimately get an undrafted defensive tackle. That's what they do, several of them. We're going to need a few of them. I'm not mad at moving Passanio inside. I don't know about Turner inside, but you saying you drafting BJ Ojulari to add him theirs and coming out of LSU, and that guy can get sacks and tackles. So that's an interesting strategy, Jesse. Thank you for that. All right. Shout out to Joe. What's up, Joseph Thomas? Shout out to you, bro. Say what's going on. A lot going on, bro. KT says, look into Jose Ramirez, junior edge rusher from Eastern Michigan. See, KT always dropping them and telling me, Q, look at this guy, look at that guy. Pamela says, exactly, we need to stop belly aching and complaining. Let's get to work. Yeah, it's about time for that. You know, it's right now we just seeing all of the movements, like what's going on with the team right now. We see some of these guys that, you know, we kept Juwan Johnson. We got Juwan Johnson under contract. Kaden Ellis was like, okay, Saints were probably interested in getting Kaden Ellis, but not for what this is. 3 years at $21.5 million with $11 million guaranteed. They weren't going to pay that for a third-string linebacker, who filled in for Caton, for a Peyton, for Pete Werner, or Demario Davis when he comes due. They weren't going to do that. And Atlanta knew that. They knew that. That's why they threw that money out there. We knew Davenport was gone. He had to come back at the Saints for south of $10 million, and then people gave him $13 million. So it's no surprise there. It's just the fact that I think a lot of people are feeling it because it's going to the Falcons. Like we got David Onyemata and Kaden Ellis, two really good players for us. Well, even though David Onyemata kind of had a downturn last year, but Kaden Ellis kind of shined, so he got a payday. They going to the Falcons, our rival. So we looking at that saying, man, ain't that some blip? But you know, you could have expected it because Ryan Nielsen is over there. He's gonna pull guys that he's familiar with. So he got some players for him, man. We just got to take it to him, fam. Everett is the Panthers' new DC. In his presser, he said that we running a 3-4 defense, and some team sources said that they are going to try to do Tuttle, put him at defensive end next to Brown and Burns. Hey, that might, listen, you know, Tyler, to give you a little game on Shy Tuttle, King Tut, as he's called. Listen, that might actually work for y'all because he is a big man that's athletic. He can move. I'm going to tell you something. So that might be something that might excite him a bit. JT says, Q, do you think Atlanta won number 10? I don't know. I think this probably be the end of the people they pilfer from us, man. Hopefully, you know. Crusher says, he says, what do you think about Polar being the Saint, Q? Or the running back? I would absolutely. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I would love that, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I would love Tony Pollard to be a Saints running back. I love his running backs. I love his running style, bro. Man, north-south runner with power. He's a guy that got some wiggle in him. He can use the stiff arm. He can catch the ball. He can block. I would love Tony Pollard as the Saints running back. It would give the Saints a really supreme combination of him and Alvin Kamara. When Alvin faces discipline, Tony's a guy that can step in there. I would love Tony Pollard. The only thing is he available and how much are the Saints willing to give him? And then the Saints, and then in the NFL circles, they devalue the running back position so much. Would it make sense for them to simply go into the draft to accommodate this? Or it depends, you know what I'm saying? But I would absolutely love to have Tony Pollard on our squad, bro, to be honest with you. Thanks for the question, bro. KT says no Bond was in the same draft class as Troutman, Q. Okay. All right. I want him out of here, man. I'm sorry. Tell me about it, 5046Q. How many more free agents do we have? Well, let's see. Well, you had David Onyemata. You got quite a few of them, bro, but the bigger of the names, that's probably much that's left of the bigger of the names. You know, you had guys like Juwan Johnson. The Saints gave him a 2-year extension. You had Shy Tuttle. He was the starter for you. Panthers grab him. David Onyemata was a guy we thought the Saints would get. Falcons got him. Kaden Ellis was another guy we want. Falcons got him. So the rest of the guys is pretty much like you have your first tier, and then the rest of them is like mostly backup guys. You know, so rest of them is like, you know, guys, you know, you feeling. So it's to be, I was thinking we get David Onyemata back, but you know, it is what it is. We'll just have to adjust. You know how I go, fam. Ryan says Sproles, Jenkins, CD, big old Tuttle, Davenport, Ellis, and our staff goes straight to our rivals. I'm not sure more. That's just off the top of my head. All right. Jay Gunn says drop Pete, get Frank Clark, Calais Campbell, Quan draft defensive end. Thank you, fam. Ultimate says, Big Q, man, I hope they show up this defense, man, because that's one of the strongest parts of the team right now. New, and don't forget, we got new personnel in terms of the coaching staff. New supposed defensive coordinator from Cleveland, new defensive line coach, new secondary coach. So we got some newness there, even though Dennis Allen rules and controls the defense. Very interesting. Travis says, Big Q sleeper of the draft is Aubrey Miller out of Jackson State. See some good names here, man. I'm going to remember these names. I'm going to go back in the chat here and look some of these guys up because I know KT put them in the email for me, bro. Send them in the email, man. He says, Big Q, positions do we double dip in the draft? Double dip, you got to say defensive line, right? Interior defensive line. Maybe you get one early and one later on in the draft. Got to look at the defensive line now, depending on what the Saints doing for agency. But still in all, you're definitely going to need some help in the draft, interiorly speaking, at the defensive line. That's a big problem right now, man. We severely weaken the position. Matter of fact, let me get this up on the screen right now, fam. Let me take a look at it and put that up on the screen right now. This is the defense as it stands right now, and even though this is unofficial, you can see right now. You can mention this Kaden Ellis is gone, so you got Zach Bowen there, Chase Hansen, who can't stay healthy, and these other guys, Ronald Connolly, Nephi Sewell did some stuff for us, Summers, and you see DeMarco Jackson there behind DeMario, and then of course Andrew Dowell. So, I mean, at some point, the Saints probably have to make some moves there. Davenport's gone. So you got Passanio there. Peyton Turner, who's a first-round draft pick for the Saints. There, Carl Granderson on the other side. Then interiorly speaking, Malcolm Roach. Kent Street is a free agent, too, just to let you know. Kent Street's a free agent. You got Elvin Huggins there and practice squad guy Prince Emili. So the Saints, you look interiorly speaking, and, of course, you can kick Tanu Passanio inside if you need to, but the Saints still need to make some adjustments from a defensive line standpoint to improve upon it, like getting more beefier or bigger guys interiorly to kind of stop that run. So the Saints have no choice to address it. So like it's one of those situations, family, where I'm actually really happy about, because the truth is, if you look at what I just showed you, there is no other reason for the Saints not to adjust or address the situation dealing with the line. Like before, we could say, oh, well, they didn't see it. Both of the starters are gone now. So the Saints have to find guys, whether they're in the free agency or the draft. So if I'm the Saints, I'm going in and I'm saying, man, listen, you got to be looking at somebody you picking up like as an interior guy. You got two opening positions in the middle of your defensive line. If I'm the Saints, I'm just saying, listen, man, we got to find a defensive, a really good, we'll see what their money can afford, but a defensive tackle, and then draft another guy next to him. And then later on in the draft, add another one. I said, that we need to have two big nose tackles that we have. And you have you got quite a few in this upcoming draft the Saints could find. So we don't have to spend a lot of money on them. And then, of course, the Saints going to bring in undrafted guys to help out. So this is interesting news as we kept it going, family, the last thing here. So thank you, KT, for that double dipping, bro. But yeah, they got quite a few of them. The Rook's calling out Mozzie Smith could be the Saints' first-round draft pick, man. Why not? Yeah, they're saying Ika. Who's better, Mozzie Smith or Big Ika? I think I like Mozzie Smith better than Big Ika, even though Ika's awesome. I think I like Mozzie Smith a little better than him. If you compare the two in the middle, who do you like? Do you like the Dancing Bear, or you like Mozzie Smith from Michigan? But Mozzie Smith, who knows? A lot of people believe Mozzie will be there when the Saints draft at 29, and that's your biggest need right now. I don't know if the Saints would. Yeah, Travis says cut Peyton Turner. They're not going to do that, bro. But Frank Clark should be an option. Shout out to Slim. He threw that out there, man. Frank Clark would be a really good pickup for the Saints, man. We need somebody that can get in there and go right away. All right, Ransom Antone says, I love the Winston extension, man. We may have the best backup quarterback in the league. Love it too, bro, because what it does is I don't have to hear all of the family members that's unhappy that the Saints did Jameis Winston in a certain way, and then they throw all of that on Carr. Like Carr was responsible for like you get rid of Jameis and then I come to the no. So it's like, you know, they for the negative feeling they feel like the Saints gave to Jameis, they didn't send that to Carr and they don't like him because of the Jameis experience. Not everybody does that, but I'm just saying what it does do, it makes peace in the Who Dat Nation because the Jameis people that love him, they get to see Jameis there. And for the Carr people that love Carr, they get to see Carr there. It brings everybody together. And that makes life for me better because I don't have to hear the family members be as hardcore as they've been on Carr because of the Saints' treatment of Jameis Winston. And that's that real deal. So that is, like I said, spiritually speaking, that made me feel really good to have both of them there because it feels like peace has been made. And I don't know if that's what they were shooting for. Because really, I don't think they were shooting for, but when both agreed, when Jameis agreed to take the restructure, because the Saints didn't have to say, listen, we're going to restructure you. They could have just said, listen, you up out of here. You see, and just say, we're going to designate you a post-June 1st cut. We're going to get this much, and then you can find your spot. No, they offered him a rework deal and said, listen, we want you, but you got to take this deal because we found our quarterback, but we want you to stay. Here's the money. And Jameis could have said yay or nay. I was saying Jameis going to say nay because he could find a starting job somewhere. Jameis says, nah, I'll sit there and take that $8 million. I'll be the backup quarterback. And I'm like, damn, I didn't think about that. I was like, man, I think Jameis was good enough to go somewhere else. But he stays, which makes everybody happy that love Jameis and people that like Carr. It makes them all happy. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that, man, because I don't have to hear all of the people upset about how the Saints treated Jameis. You know, and if injuries occur, to Derek Carr, this is the NFL where you could see Jameis in that plan again. You know, like I said, bro. And then another thing is, you kind of make the people, whoever they are, that like Andy Dalton, feel kind of bad because Andy Dalton, if he do want to come back here, he got to come back here super cheap. So I think this might be the end out on Andy Dalton. This might be the end of your Andy Dalton. We got our backup quarterback in Jameis. This could be the end of Andy Dalton, which also makes me. Makes me happy too. So it's a win-win for Big Hugh. Let me tell you something. Big Hugh says big win. And throw the thumbs up. Oh, big win for Big Q. Oh man. I'm serious, man. I've got tired of that, man. People tear them up, man. I'm like, goddamn. You know, that's like smiling, man. You just endorsed the car somewhere, man. Ramsey says, hey, Q, would you bring Jarvis Landry back on another cheap deal? Hey, bro, remember Jarvis stayed because of Jameis? Is that a situation where Jarvis comes back? Is this because you got Jameis back? Does Jarvis come back? All things open now, bro. I don't know. On a cheap deal, it couldn't hurt. The $6 million last year wasn't such a bad deal, you know, that we got him on, and he should be healthy come camp. So what we could see is actually realize what we thought we was going to see last year. It could be a redo year, offensively speaking. He's a year more comfortable with the Saints. He still wants to win. So, I mean, we'll see how it all shakes, man. But at the end of the day, could be with Jameis staying, Jarvis could stay too on a cheap deal if they want him. So we'll see how it all shakes, man. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. All right, so let's do a final check on this thing, fam. Let's rework this thing. All the news that happened, and really, I stayed on, man, because we had so much that was popping and shaking that was going on in this broadcast because stuff was popping live. Shout out to you, Duke. Thank you, fam. What's up, Professor? Yeah, Sheldon Rankins is a free agent now. Yet, if we talked about, I don't know, do you go back to Sheldon Rankins? Sometimes you do. Jaron Reed from Green Bay is a free. Okay, thank you, Professor. Professor's dropping some of the potential replacements for David Onyemata. Does Sheldon do people feel good about Sheldon Rankins returning? Remember, Sheldon Rankins wasn't there. I mean, when he was there, he played well, but availability was the problem with Sheldon Rankins. Is that fixed? KT says Mossy is a better pass rusher, but Ika's a better against the run. Q. Okay, one for the other. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Seven who that 23 says round 1, round 2, Broncos, round 4. He says Marcus Davenport, round 4 comp. I see you. All right, Ryan says, I don't want to be selfish rather than let Jameis go and find a better job. I think Jameis says he feels good. It could be a situation where, man, you never know what could happen, fam. Like I said, it's the NFL. Guys could get, man, stuff could happen, man. And next thing you know, Jameis is back in there. It's the NFL, fam. It's a hard business, man. And guys get faster and stronger every year. So, I mean, listen, man, it could be something else. Jarrell says, Q, what about Bud Dupree? That's an interesting call, bro. For the end. Dre Day says NFC teams making moves besides the Bucks. Yeah, the Bucks sitting there. I don't know what the Bucks doing, bro. Bucks just sitting there twiddling their fingers. KG said, Q, what are your thoughts on the wide receiver? Yeah, 6'3" from Princeton. I love that kid, man. I seen this tape. How could you not love him? Watching a guy like that play. I remember hearing one of the scouts that was making references to him, Andre from Princeton, was comparing that dude to like Cooper Kupp. Said he has the potential to be like a Cooper Kupp type. I was like, Cooper Kupp for real? You know, and they just be throwing around really good players and what they do. But I wouldn't put the tape on and watch that kid from Princeton. Boy, that dude, very interesting, man. He got potential, no doubt about it. Ultimate Street said, Q, which is interesting to me is everyone go to teams in the NFC South. Yeah, I know. Yeah, especially the Falcons stealing Saints players, right? But anyway, fam, let's do this. Let's do this before we close out the stream. All right, so we started with this story. We talked about David Onyemata agreeing to a 3-year deal to go over to the Falcons. His contract at $35 million, 3 years, $35 million with $24.5 million of guaranteed money. So he follows Ryan Nielsen to Atlanta to start for the Falcons in the interior. We then move to the next article covering Panthers signing Shy Tuttle to a deal. It's a 3-year deal at $19.5 million with $13 million guaranteed for the Carolina Panthers. So Shy Tuttle goes to Carolina. Onyemata, that's our 2 starting interior defensive linemen, are both going in the same day. So we have to step it up. Also, the reworking of Alvin, Kamara, and Marshon Lattimore contracts was done to clear space between the 2 men. The Saints freed up over $17 million and cap work between the 2 of the men. Outside of that, the Saints then reworked the contract of Cam Jordan, saving an additional $10 million. So $27 million between AK-41, Laddie Daddy, and Cam Jordan. The Saints were able to get back in the black currently, and I'm estimating maybe 11 to 12 million in the black as they rework Cam's contract. We also made mention of the fact that the Saints won't tender restricted free agent wide receiver Marquez Callaway, that he will not be tendered. So maybe it could be a possibility that Callaway won't be with the Saints again this year. So we'll see as he will be able to become unrestricted, and the Saints will let him test out the market. So we'll see how that shakes and goes. We also went over the depth chart and talked about our offense and the unofficial depth chart, how it will look and things and moods, and always does you well to look at the depth chart to see where we need improvement at. So losing Kaden Ellis here, and you're losing Davenport there, and the inside you lose both David Onyemata and Shy Tuttle, your starters. You got Roach, who's there with Huggins and Prince Amelie, this practice squad guys. Katavius Street is also a free agent. So the Saints have some work to do at the start of free agency and the draft. So just be cool. We still got a lot of time. And then, of course, we went over what happened in the NFC South between all these people. We talked about the fact that the Saints, the Falcons signing the personnel that they signed. And, of course, a couple of moves have happened since then. We don't go over the entire NFL, but we do go over what we care about, which is the NFC South. As you can see, the Falcons making their moves today, several signings. Falcons from Lidstrom trading for Jonnu Smith from the Patriots for a 7-round selection this year. Signing Lorenzo Carter, getting David Onyemata, Kaden Ellis to a 3-year deal at $21.5 million with $11 million in guarantees. Also picking up Jesse Bates on a 4-year deal over $64 million with $23 million in the first year. Getting Bradley Pinion and agreeing to a 3-year deal with him to come back. The Carolina Panthers picking up on and re-signing their center Bradley Bozeman to a 3-year deal at $18 million. Getting Shy Tuttle, as we just talked about, and then signing Von Bell, former St. Von Bell, who was with Cincinnati last year. Now he's with the Panthers, back in the AFC South. And of course, we went over some of the moves the Saints have made to this point. And of course, we know that Tampa Bay just sitting there twirling their thumbs. They just signed Jamal Dean just to say that they done something. And of course, we go into Ian Rappaport and we talk about some of the things that they did as well. As you see, one of these things he just reported what the Bears did as they agreed to a deal with DeMarcus Walker and signing him to a deal. He has 7-sack breakout season. He gets $7 million per year over the next 2 years. So the Bears did their thing. Seahawks also picked up on defensive tackle Draymond Jones, 3 years, over $50 million. There we see the Kaden Ellis situation there. We see he reported on that. And of course, the Marcus Davenport deals. Marcus Davenport's headed to the Vikings. 1-year deal at $13 million. So Kaden Ellis, David Onyemata, Kaden Ellis, and Marcus Davenport, all starters for the Saints defense, are all going elsewhere. So don't, right now, family, all you need to know is do not. Also, how can I forget talking about Jameis? Jameis was also another big deal that happened while we were still online, that we talked about Jameis Winston agreeing to a 1-year deal. Well, he was already under a 1-year deal, but he agreed to the restructuring of the 1-year deal where he gets up to $8 million just to hold the clipboard. And sources say no starting opportunities for Jameis. Now, if Derek Carr has an issue where he can't play, Jameis, of course, will step in. But, and this is Josina Anderson right here saying QB Jameis just texted me that he's finalizing a deal to return to the Saints. So that was something that also happened during this time of us being on the show. And that is everything and everything. Mars Jivian says, Big Q, before you go, man, Pels have to win this damn game. I got you, bro. They got to beat the Lakers, man. On Tuesday, tomorrow they got to beat the Lakers. If they do that and they got the Lakers Tuesday, then that'll be the last of the road game, the home games. Then they hit the road with 2 matchups against worst team in the NBA in Houston. They have the Rockets on the 17th and the 19th, both games in Houston. The Pelicans should be able to beat them. And then they have matchups against the Spurs and the Charlotte Hornets at home. So if the Pelicans can't go on a 6-game winning streak over the next several games, man, they ain't going nowhere, man. They got to win. You got to beat teams. That's lottery teams. Those teams not playing for anything. They got to beat those teams if they're a playoff team. We got to do it. So anyway, with that being said, man, let me tell you something. The reality is, for the family members that's feeling kind of bad because we losing, these guys are going, Kaden Ellis, Davenport, and now David Onyemata are going, 2 of those to division rivals. Shy Tuttle, another starter going. So you're down 3 starters, 1 guy that was playing starter minutes because of injuries to your linebackers, so 2 your starters. So be patient. We're going to see what the Saints do over the next several weeks as we get ready to start free agency. Let's see how the Saints address the needs that we have to do. Do they go after a defensive end opposite of Cam to help them out, or do they stand pat with who we got? Who will be the choice at the interior defensive line position? I think a free agent interior defensive lineman, 1 in the draft high, and then, of course, another one later on in the draft to kind of fortify the depth, because we not only need starters, but we also need depth behind our interior defensive linemen. And I know, understand, Pascal could be kicked inside if you need him to, but I think ultimately if you had to play a game tomorrow, probably Pascal will be the guy to start there. But Peyton Turner really is a guy with a first-round grade. He'll have to start stepping up to see where he belongs. So a lot of questions need to be asked or answered for the Saints over the next several months. So we got some time here. So we'll find out exactly how it is moving forward. So it'll be fun. All right. Shout out to the fam. All right. Also, let me give a shout out to the family members as well. All right. Lo said we just signed Kaden Ellis. I asked him about it. Shout out to Lo. Shout out to you, Jerome. Thank you, fam. He says they got mad at Cam mock drafts, 2 defensive tackles. LOL. All right. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate you. All right. So much love to the fam. I appreciate y'all for chiming in on this episode of the show, man. We covered a lot today, man. I wasn't expecting to go 3.5 hours, but then again, that news started breaking. You got to cover it. All right, so Mocha, shout out to you, fam. Travis, I see you, fam. we still got a lot of time, man, left to handle the business, man. We really do. So be patient. Let's see what these people do. Let's see how they fill these needs of these people that's going out. We're just at the start of it, man. It's going to be a while. Free agency period going into the draft. So a lot of potential for the Saints. They're in the let me see right now if they updated where the Saints are insofar as the salary cap. They should be in the black. Let me see if they updated over the cap. No, they still got it at minus 16.6. The Saints should be in the black, but we still got Andrews Pete. While the Saints are in the black, they can still see what they're going to do with Andrews Pete. Still some questions to ask, fam. So please be patient moving forward as we still see what goes on. So be patient with that. But still good news is for my Jameis people, Jameis comes back on the restructure deal. He agreed to the restructure deal. So you got Jameis Winston and Derek Carr on the same team. Could you picture that? I'm surprised by that. I'm not going to tell you no lie. I'm surprised by that. Happy surprise. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to tip out on that. Listen, please feel free if you hadn't already hit the like button, family. Well over 200 of us in the building. Please feel free to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show links on your social media feed. For the family members that are YouTube members and Patreon champions, we will be returning tomorrow. We'll be doing mock drafts. We'll be talking about free agents, potential for some of the stuff that we need to be looking at. We'll be going over some of the needs and for the team in free agency. We'll be doing the mock draft, and we'll be going over some potential people that we can look at. So we'll be doing that. And also remember, on Wednesday stream, we'll be popping up on the NFC South. That'll be myself, Big Low, my brothers Dave and Rashard from the Panther Nations podcast, and also Big Game James from a Big Game podcast. So we'll be up talking about the NFC South. So you guys can feel free to join us on that stream as well. So please feel free to share the stream, show links on the links on your social media feed. It helps us out greatly. Also, feel free to check out the Pro Shop. The link's in the description section below. Great show. I appreciate you guys for putting up with me for 3.5 hours. I love y'all, man. Keep y'all heads up. And like I said, I'll be back on Patreon tomorrow. Much love to the fam. Who dat? And I'm out.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. I'm a who dat. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Alvin. I thank God every day I'm not a Falcon. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Yeah, like this, and I'm a who dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a who dat. Lose or winning, I'm a who dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who dat. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Pro Shop, that's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who That too.
TheWhoThatDaily.com. That's right, TheWhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who That and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, TheWhoThatDaily.com is your site. TheWhoThatDaily.com for the